Hey.
Well,
I'm
look,
glad you're.
it was
you
hard
gotta
for
know
me to
the
think of
movies.
a movie that like first made me cry. But look, when I watched American Sniper and I saw Chris Kyle doing all those war crimes, I cried thinking about how free he was making America.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
All
I knew
right.
I was forgetting someone. Sorry.
Hey, if you like this video, please subscribe and do the belly thingy.
We're all gonna
You
have
guys
a good
ready?
show. So let's jump into the first topic, which is what is the first movie that made you cry? All right, so this topic was suggested by Tiberius, and honestly, I kind of like it. So you know what? I'm giving you the first intro. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, this is gonna be great memes. So I was about 7, 8 years old. It was 1999, and this movie called Pokemon the movie came out. And make a long story short, either you know it or you don't know it.
Brother,
You went
my
through. I'm this
brother,
or I'm this age. We spent the
tell
better part of
me
a year
who
with
you
this kid
fighting
named Ash
for.
Ketchum, and then he gets hit by a psychic blast in the movie and gets turned to stone. And you've got his little boy Pikachu there, fucking crying because he's just lost his best friend. Fucking hit me right in the goddamn feels, man. It's still. I still remember how I felt that day, and it was definitely the first time that I remember ever crying for a movie. Hit me like a ton of bricks. Great little scene. So yeah, I'll open up with that.
Decent choice. J0eLewis.
Yeah, I guess mine's doesn't really have much of a story to it. It was like the first movie where I kind of I don't know if it's re-experience the concept of death, but Green Mile. I was like maybe I don't
God
remember
damn
how
it,
young I was.
Joe!
That was like the
I was
first
gonna
movie
say
that I
Green Mile.
understood from front to back. It was like a serious film, and it hit me up pretty hard. Yeah, so Green Mile is it for me.
Hey, Joe, your mic is doing an in and out thing where you're like normal level and then like super level.
It pops in and out, right? I can
Yeah.
adjust that. Let me see what's up.
Okay.
All right. Gremloe.
Well, it's interesting. I was going to go with Green Mile before Joe said that, but I'm going to go ahead and agree with Tiberius here. The first Pokemon movie, very emotional, excellent character development, and the brother song when all of the Pokemon are hugging and fighting at the same time, devastating. A devastating blow to my childhood psyche. So I'm going to agree with Tiberius here. Pokemon, the first movie.
Fellow millennial, I hear it.
God damn. Hardwood and Sock.
I'm gonna go with Lion King. You know, when Mufasa dies. You know, it's pretty traumatizing scene. You know, when you're a child.
Stealing content.
You're just like,
What a Weasley
no,
little
the
stealer, dude.
lion's dad just died. You know, I don't know. Like that's probably the first one I remember. And you know, it still gets me to this day, you know, when you watch it with other little ones. So it's like, and they don't understand it, but you know, that's probably the one I would go with.
Hell yeah. Symphonix.
I'll be honest, I don't remember.
If you guys want to know
but
like the
I
most
I
recent
don't
one that
remember
made
the
me
first
cry,
one.
it was
But I
Guardians of the
do
Galaxy
remember
Volume 2.
Becoming really emotional.
When Yondu
in the
died,
movie
I
theater
cried like
watching
a
Spirited
little
Away
bitch
when I was in
baby.
high school. And, you know, here I am, this like, I don't remember how old I was. I was like 15 or something at the time, you know, and just like breaking down bawling in the movie theater and like, yeah, just be like, I don't know what's wrong. But yeah, no,
Damn it.
it's,
You know,
there's
I
a
should have
part
said
with,
Too
like,
Fast, Too Furious.
when Haku is like all sick and they have to go through
Dude,
the
when he
like, the
ejected
witch,
that
like, the
dude
sister
out of
or
that
whatever,
seat,
and get him better. Like that was
I just cried.
pretty big
Thinking about
emotional
his
part
family.
for me. So
That dude had a family and he just like
Alright.
threw him out of a seat. It's insane,
Montreal
dude.
Playoff.
These people are brutal.
What
about his
I
family?
can't remember. I know some movies have made me cry. They usually are cry. They get me emotional, especially when it comes to like, honestly, when it comes to a parent's children dying, puts me in a bad place. Puts me in a bad place, right? Yeah, and that's it. I got some songs that make me cry for reasons that reveal maybe too much about my personality. But yeah, other than that, I can't remember. But I think probably movies where something along that theme makes me happen, where a parent has to lose a child, makes me go a nice rubbery one.
Ooh, Eight Below when the dogs died.
All right.
Sorry, I can't remember the title. I can't remember any titles though.
I should have tried to play on CTV's heart and been like, when I watched that movie,
CTV.
American Sniper, and Chris Kyle did all those war crimes, I just cried thinking about how free he was making America.
This is why we have to change the whole mood, because we're talking about crying and being somber. Now, we're going to demonstrate why I'm the people's champion. Bear with me. The first movie that I cried was the 1986 Transformers movie. Optimus Prime was making his way from Cybertron, actually one of Cybertron's moons, right to Earth, because Megatron had hijacked one of the Autobot ships and was taking over Autobot City here on Earth. As Prime exited the ship, he said, "Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost." And he goes so bravely and fights through all of these Decepticons, makes his way right to Megatron, right? And when they stand there, Prime says, "One shall stand, one shall fall." And Megatron replies, "Why throw away your life so recklessly?" And Prime replies, "That's a question you should ask yourself, Megatron." And then they battle it out. And at the end of it, Megatron is so fucking destroyed. This Soundwave had to pick his ass up and carry him away on Astro Train.
Yeah, he's a good memer.
And Optimus was taken into Autobot City headquarters, where he knew that he was at his end, and he explained the Matrix to the Autobots that were there in the room. And he told them, "Till all are one." And he passed the Matrix over to Ultra Magnus.
Damn, dude.
That was the very first time that I cried. And that right there, folks, is why CTV is the people's champion, because I'm feeling that shit, and I fucking know you are too.
Yeah.
Well done.
I just wanted to welcome Earthly. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Give yourself a shout out, tell people where they can find you, who you are, and everything. And we jumped into the first topic, which is
Red
what
Indian
is
in
the
the
first
cupboard.
movie that
What a
made you
callback.
cry? So if you want to give yourself a shout out and give your answer to that, yeah, go ahead, Earthly.
This dude's like, "Look, you just made me go after CTV. Are you shitting me? I got to bring the cat out." Right?
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, you think you can compete with that, dude? Taking that as a no.
I got my own cat and 5 dogs. We got all the cuteness you can want over here.
Yeah, I can only really swing one cat because I have a 1-bed apartment. So if I had dogs, they'd probably just tear this place to shreds, honestly. But yeah, hey, I'm Earthly. Been on Twitch for about 2 years, mainly as a shit poster. I've done a lot of more normie Twitch stuff, like Austin shows, Zerka, that kind of stuff. I originally came to Twitch as a big old Destiny stan, though. So I used to want to do Twitch politics, and now I do again. And so here I am, you know?
Listen, happy to have you on board. So yeah, what's your take? What's the first movie that made you cry?
Yeah. The first one I remember crying over it was Shrek 2 when that giant gingerbread man died. That traumatized me. I think that was probably one of my first big traumas.
Be good.
All right. You know what? I changed my mind on this question. I loved it before y'all gave your answer, but now I feel old.
What's your answer?
My answer is literally Bambi. You know?
Bambi's a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a lot of people's first.
Classy.
But anyway, the floor is yours, and yeah, you can engage.
I just want to say with Bambi, don't be sad because someone got some good deer jerky out of it.
No!
Wow.
True.
They don't
Yeah.
comment anyway.
That's fucking based.
Oh my gosh. There's one thing I'll add on to this is that like if there's any movie that still gets me fucked up, it's goddamn Up. Because my grandfather is literally in that spot now, or my maternal grandfather. Grandma passed away about 2 years ago. You know, he's just kind of sitting here alone. You know, he's 90, served in Korea, that kind of thing. And I'm just like, oh, I cannot help but feel for this man. I really can't. Oh, it kills me inside. Absolutely every time I see it.
Yeah, another one that always gets me is in regards to animals is like the Marley and Me, so like anyone who's who's
Yeah.
ever owned like a dog. Oh Jesus, it's terrible.
Can't believe
Animal
none of you
movies.
I can't believe none of you degenerates have even bothered to go down the road of naming Old Yeller. Come on.
Jesus, you're
brutal
old.
one.
So
Or-
so here's the thing
or-
with
It
animal
was
movies.
before my time, CTV.
Yeah, or where the red fern grows.
I mean, I don't really watch
Okay.
movies in retirement homes, so these are kind of out of my, purview.
Animal movies are like super cheating in this category though. Like every animal movie, Homeward Bound, like all that shit's gonna have a sad scene. The
Homeward
real
Bound.
answer here is a single tear at the hot gate scene in 300 because it was so fucking badass.
No.
Wait, which scene in 300 made you shed a single tear?
A single
Hot
tear
gate?
because of how pretty it was. The hot gates were like they're first fighting the army, and then like it has that scene where like Leonidas steps out and like the slow-mo fight scene and everything.
What does that
Well,
scene
that-
say to you?
That whole movie.
It was just really good cinematography.
Are you like
Blocked-
this?
yeah.
This cinematography's so beautiful. That,
Well,
like that
Single
kind of
tear
shit?
for the badass dude.
Well, specifically, Monty, what was alluded to there was the fact that the mortar that was holding together all the stones that constituted the hot gates was the dead Persian scouts.
That's true.
This went in a place I didn't plan on it going. Okay.
American Sniper, and I saw Chris Kyle doing all those war crimes. I cried thinking about how free he was making America.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
All
I knew I was
right.
forgetting someone. Sorry about that, Gremloe.
Now, if we modify the question just a bit, right, to the first movie that made me cry since I've been married, and that movie was Lego Batman movie.
Ooh.
Lego Batman made you cry?
Oh,
There was
damn
some
right,
correlation there.
dude.
What?
But Lego Batman is deep.
What about being a married man made you like more liable to cry over it though? That's
Well,
my question.
the nice thing about it for me is because like most of the time you end up making your way through the world, right? I did 9 years in the Navy. I'm been out driving trucks. You got to be hard, right? Like it's hard to be able to open up. But like, when I met my wife, it became a lot easier for me to be able to do that with her, and so that's why, at least for me, it became a little bit more significant event in my life.
Yeah, everybody's hard till you put on Lego Batman,
Oh, true.
It's true.
I will say a movie my girlfriend actually showed me that really got to me. And I don't know like how applicable it will be to everyone watching, but it's Boy Meets Girl. It's a story about like transgender like acceptance and everything, and it's fucking wild. Like the movie is so well done. I'd highly recommend it. And it's like an indie movie, and the main actress is trans and everything too, so it's really good.
Nice.
I did watch an Indian movie here recently. That one, War. I believe that's the name of it. There was these two. It's part of the
Did you like that,
Indian
chat?
Special Forces. They were.
Did you like
hunting
the
down
little
this
meme
guy.
I did there?
Anyway, there was a meme about it with me and counterpoints. That's the only reason why I ended up watching it, and yeah, it was actually a pretty good movie. I think it's called War. Like the only one I know about.
Like everyone's
Completely
favorite
off
card game.
topic now, but
Okay, I have a Bambi story, sort of. All right. So, I mean, I'll give you the abridged version, but essentially, one time I'm headed back from a funeral with all the kids in the car, and we hit 2 deer at the same time, right? Who just went through them like cake. I tried to avoid them, but they jumped in front of me. Anyways, so we're pulling over to the thing. It's raining fur, right, all over the place, and the kids are like going like what happened? And so I go check it out. Anyways, there's a bunch of funny stuff that happened in the middle, but when I come back, I'm like, okay. The good news is
You guys can't tell,
we're
but I'm
going
so nervous right
I'm
now.
happy
I'm,
to
like,
Grandma and
shaking.
Grandpa's house because it's nearby. The bad news is I'm pretty sure I killed Bambi's mom, right? And I said it to my 5-year-old. Yeah, was she 5? She was 7, right? And yeah, that's it. So whatever. There's a bunch of stuff that happened, but that's essentially my little Bambi story. But I guess it didn't really affect us.
Okay, I have to ask though. We hit 2 deer with a car. Did the car survive?
No.
No. Actually, hold on. The car had some damage, and I have insurance that gives us basically new car, right? So when we hit this thing, it was like, okay, there was damage, whatever. I wasn't thinking about this at the time, but when
Like
they came
stone
back, they
cold
were like,
confident
okay,
on
it's a total
cameras because you
loss.
can't see my hands.
So I got a new car, right? So when they called me, I'm like, and they tell me, yeah, listen, your car's a total loss. I'm like, oh, really? Right. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, hit both of them. Went through them like cake, man. It was strange. Anyways, I still feel bad for it, but what are you gonna do? I really tried to avoid them. They darted in front of me. Anyways,
I
that's
think your
it.
car
Kill
was
Bambi,
defending
give
itself.
Bambi and the mom.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I got it both.
It was
Oh man, it was
self-defense.
so sad. It was so sad, guy. It's like this thing is like I could see the deer behind me, right? The one of the ones we hit, and the legs are still moving, right? If I had a gun, I'd shoot it, right? But
How did we-
it was
Jesus.
just like there.
Yeah.
It was just there, still moving. I'm like, oh man. There was okay. Well, we might as well continue. Huh? There's one in the road. Okay, it kicked me. Cars kept hitting the carcass, right? And then finally an 18-wheeler just drove right through it, blew it up. Right. That's why I'm saying it was like raining fur all over the place. You should have heard this thing, man. We're like on the phone. We're on the phone with the police. We're on the phone with the police, right, or the highway patrol or whatever, and we're like, yeah, listen, we got cars stopped here, and there's carcasses in the road and stuff, right? But they're on the phone having this serious conversation. In the background, all you hear is this, oh, right? Every time this thing would get smacked by another car, right? There's just like pieces of it all over the road after a while, and yeah, that's it. Anyways, there's my hitting deer story.
Okay.
That's tragic. Jesus. I mean, I saw like a buck standing on the side of the road next to a doe that had just been hit. It's like he was standing there to like protect her, even though like she was already dead. Yeah, that was pretty heart wrenching because he was just standing there like looking at traffic pass by, like
This movie
right next to her body.
This movie right here you're describing is going to make me cry.
Like I was driving by and I'm like, oh my god, like that's horrible. Like I never seen, like it's always interesting to see like in nature like how they actually care for each other, and it's like obviously they were
souls,
together.
Man.
I know it's, but like you don't always see it, and like when you do see it, it really hits you a little bit, It sucked that I was working, but I couldn't like. Well, there was nothing I could really do anyway. It's dead deer, but yeah. It's tragic. Well, Geek,
anyone else want to humanize some animals and then talk about their death?
Nah, I'm good.
Well,
I think I'm okay.
The less, the better.
there
Less
is the
things to have
story.
empathy for, the better your mental health. That's what I've heard.
Then there's the story of the fox and the hound. Anybody remember that one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course.
The fox and the hound. The fox and the hound.
Was that it?
Apparently.
All right.
Look,
I think
I got a hard wooden sock, right, to become real soft, real fucking quick, right? I don't know what to tell you, right? Apparently it was enough.
Oh
and
man,
I think that's a good place.
laughing.
Like this is a fun topic that is just like to start the conversation, and I think we'll reach that place. But yeah, thank you everyone. Sorry again, Gremloe, for skipping you at the beginning. Like I said, just woke up and everything. I tried to do better.
Totally fine.
But yeah, this fun topic was brought to you by Tiberius. So yeah, thank you again for that.
Yeah, I'm regretting my life choices.
No, it was a good topic.
I'm surprised no one mentioned Field of Dreams. Maybe I'm alone on that one.
Because
But,
that
You
one
are
came out.
such Eurotrash. What the
Wow. Look. If you want to say Field of Dreams, that came out in the '90s, I believe.
Oh,
Right?
older than that.
No, I think it was the '90s, bro.
No,
Like
look.
I was alive when it came out, and I was born in '83, so I was at least 7, and I'm pretty sure
was
it came out. I was a little older than
89.
that. '89,
yeah.
really,
Yep.
really. Mr. Brain Dead Wood, appreciate you. Apparently, you're
He
not
built it,
so
and he
so
didn't realize it
brain
was his dad the whole time.
dead. Mm.
That's the tearjerker. That was the moment.
Hey, listen. Don't play, don't hit on people with daddy issues. That's all I have to say. But yeah. With that being said, let's before we jump into the main topic, I wanted to thank you all for being here on time and everything. I was kind of a
That
strict
a
in
backhanded
the
thing
group.
against me.
Field of Dreams,
No, not at all.
MBHJ.
I feel so bad. I had the wrong movie in mind when you said Field of Dreams.
Wait
Yeah,
a
that's
minute.
a
What?
baseball movie
Hold on,
in
hold on.
Iowa.
Hold on.
Yeah, I haven't
I'm
seen it
kind
at
of
all.
curious too. What kind of movie did you have?
Yeah.
You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh your ass off at this. I thought you were talking about The Sound of Music. Whoops!
Wow.
My bad.
Okay.
How the fuck
but
do you
yeah.
confuse 1989 with motherfucking 1920, 30, 40 something? That fucking
47,
shit's
I think.
fucking old as shit,
like
man.
literally like one of the earliest colored movies, or earliest movies in color.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
Yeah,
nobody
with that being
said
said-
Indian in the Cupboard.
I don't know that one.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with that being said, sorry to cut you all, but thank you for being here. Really appreciate that. Everyone in chat, please go follow our wonderful panelists, and also Danabo, who's doing a wonderful work behind the scene. If you're here, it's because you received an invite from Danabo. So yeah, go check him out on Twitch.
Fred, you and I were like
and
artisanal
support him if
movie
you want
movie
on,
watchers from the
Patreon.
early '90s.
Patreon.com/Danabo, I suppose. So thank you for being here. And with that being said, let's jump into the main topic. And I'm so happy we're not doing Rittenhouse. A good and bad of the Biden infrastructure bill, and everything surrounding it. So take it wherever you want. Like, I think there are plenty of things to talk about when it comes to infrastructure. So to make up for getting you last round, Gremloe, you start.
Oh, that's no problem at all. So, I mean, the infrastructure bill, it sucks. Let's just all be honest. It sucks. Either it's not enough or it's too much, depending on what side of the political spectrum you're coming from. I come from the perspective that it's not enough. The fact that we had 2 people, Manchin and Cinema, holding this up and watering it down to the extent that it is, starting at 6 trillion, going down to 3.5, then down to 1.5, negotiated to 1.85. It sucks. It's not enough. And the one chance that we get to actually invest in the country and improve the infrastructure, we just get this half-assed bill. It really sucks. I wish we could have gotten more out of it. And that's really all I have to say.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Tiberius.
I have a lot to say on this one, and I've literally done this over this period of 3 videos. So let me give you the highlight reel, at least where I'm at, and then we'll get to it in the main body. When it comes to the Republicans, they did fan-fucking-tastic of literally letting the Democrats eat themselves to having this bill all the way down to where it was. And then when literally the Republicans got what they wanted, which was the infrastructure bipartisan bill part that they agreed to, when the vote actually came, they didn't even fucking vote. You fucking won. You put it over the hoop. Like, what the hell? Sign the goddamn bill. No, it's partisan. I'm pissed because it's literally like the Republicans did all the fucking legwork and then didn't even take credit for it. When it comes to the Democrats as well, I'm not on the left. I fear for the Democrats because holy crap. If
How was
you
that,
guys
guys?
don't get your shit together, you're gonna
Was
lose
that
your
succinct
ass
enough?
in 22 and 24. which I'm not looking my side of the aisle in a very favorable light right now. So I'm just saying, if like, I'm not caring for where anybody is. When it comes to what's actually in the bill, wonderful stuff. Now, granted, I don't approve of everything, but I think it was an actually really solid bipartisan bill that, you know, we had some compromises on that actually got some shit funded that really needs funded. You know what? Yeah,
Okay,
I
I'm getting
don't
a little
approve
bit
of the EV
all over the
provisions,
place.
but we can have that out in the
Doing
body.
good, short and to the point.
Having
Bill was fine, fire.
$130 billion into new roads is absolutely going to go really far. Even if my side of the aisle doesn't get as much as what we, you know, we're hoping for, we're gonna be able to put that together. We're gonna be able to get the I-49 project probably finished and done. The I-57 project will largely be finished and done, and most of the I-69 project can probably be finished and done. So I'm super thrilled with the fact that we actually have a sizable of any kind infrastructure bill. It's actually the biggest in what we've seen in almost 40 years. And I would love to see this on another level, but I'm going to end with that.
All right, I'm going to throw it to Joe.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there are a bunch of things that I guess you could say are net goods, things you could say are net bads, and we'll probably get into the open about it. My biggest frustration about this bill is that Democrats try to herald themselves as the party that's for education and for the advancement of the improvement of infrastructure, and then they just kind of ignore public schools altogether. Like there was $100 billion that was allocated towards public schools that magically disappeared. If we understand that like 85 billion a year is underfunded or underinvested within public schools, it's a slap in the face to all teachers. I think it's very embarrassing to be a Democrat and say you're for education when you didn't hold Democrats accountable in terms of making sure that stayed in the bill. Because now, granted, I'm in New Jersey. We're in the top 3 schools of education in the state. We're not going to get we're not going to get these funds. Like me being in support of more funding in public schools, it's not going to affect my state. It's going to affect the Mississippi's, Louisiana's, Pennsylvania's, Ohio's that have much shittier infrastructures.
Yep.
And again, these are states that desperately need help with public school infrastructure. If we also understand that the next thing
that's a cute
that
doggy.
States
Oh,
and
that's a
local
cute doggy.
municipalities spend outside of highways is elementary and secondary education, then there's no excuse why the federal government can't spend more per year in terms of helping alleviate that burden.
Dude, he's so
to
good.
taxpayers across the country.
He's
We understand
so good.
that a vast and overwhelming majority of your taxes when it comes to schooling let me rephrase this. Like your funding comes from an overwhelming majority state and local taxes. And that's it. Like the federal government spends less than 10% a year on the budget towards your education, and that's disgusting. The federal government needs to spend more. That can alleviate money away from taxpayers at the state level, and that could really help a lot of communities. Like they could overfund it, and the amount that would be considered overfunding would still be monstrously lower than what Republicans would be afraid of. And again, this is something that I think Republicans should be in support of, like the advancement of funding federally towards schools. That is something that is going to affect a vast majority of red states, and then they can pull the same bullshit like they do and just blame it on Democrats and say, like, oh, it's the Democrats' fault they don't care about education. Republicans have the ability to become the party that is pro-public education through funding federally, and they're just choosing not to do that. So while I think Democrats are
why is CTV so tiny
for not fighting for that funding to stay in the bill, Republicans have nothing.
His wife hit him with the miniaturizing gun? What happened?
Right, I'm going to throw it to Montreal player.
Also, how's the audio for you guys?
I found out I was going to be on this thing like last night, and then I have to read this infrastructure bill like late at night after I put the kids to bed, right? All fucking 90,000 paragraphs. Anyways, I got through some of it. One of the things that struck me is the big emphasis on broadband connectivity in rural areas, right? And I feel like this kind of push, this kind of like investment towards that is really like, I almost feel like it's like they, for some reason, people really liked what was going on with labor, during COVID, where everyone's like kind of staying home. Okay. And so
there's no,
like,
if Montreal player is a righty or a lefty,
connectivity to like rural areas or something, right? So we can have more people basically move into places, work from home or work locally, and have more, I guess, like intellectual type, labor in the country, right? Maybe we'll train train people or something. But it seems to be like that kind of like less manufacturing here, more like thinky work, right? And I don't know if I like that, just because, yeah. Oh, and the other thing is like the roads and airports and ports, basically better capacity to import more fucking manufactured goods from outside of the country, right? Just better infrastructure, just spread more stuff. And I don't like this. I mean, I don't like this for a bunch of reasons. I think it streamlines what the economy is about, okay, and fragilizes it because it removes the diversity from it, and that's it. And then basically to there's, I guess, climate goals. This climate goals, I feel like we're overheating stuff anyways, but I mean, just to reduce, I guess, the capacity of that kind of output or use of energy, and focus and basically just outsource it to places that don't give a shit. I think it's going to backfire in terms of like climate goals. And that's it. The way there's a bunch of things. I'm trying to collect my thoughts here. This is annoying, but yeah, there's a bunch of things that I don't like about it, I guess, in those aspects. And there's a bunch of questions I have on it. Like they say, like we're gonna deal with the justice, with racial justice, with climate change, with stuff like
Okay,
that.
so it's weird. This is the impression that I'm getting from MDHJ.
Do this, or is this just lip service?
It's weird,
right? And I guess that's it. I'm gonna have more questions, I guess, than a lot of other things, and try to have more focused questions as the conversation goes on.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Earthly.
Yeah, so I also didn't get like a ton of time to research this too much. I would definitely concur with Joe a lot in saying that, like, I think they're definitely like public education, like improving that should definitely be a much higher priority if you're talking about like trying to do like impose like meaningful changes to our like country's infrastructure and the way that we're like currently handling things like that. One of the only things that I really like got to looking into was a lot of the stuff with the EV thing. And I watched an interview with one of the guys that's involved in the company that they're like hiring to do a lot of the EV stuff. And like, I'm not like a socialist or anything by any means, but the interview that I watched felt a little bit weird because it felt like the guy was like essentially spent most of the interview, I think it was just like MSNBC, talking about how much money they were going to make off of this, which is like okay. Yeah, so I don't really have
if anybody can find a link to
but yeah,
the stuff outside of physical infrastructure, like child care, child tax credits, anything like that, I would appreciate it.
So the infrastructure bill, I am glad that something regarding infrastructure finally passed after lip service from Trump for X amount of years, and Biden actually came in and did get it done. It might not be enough to some people on the Democrat side of the aisle. For me, it's probably a little bit too much. I would have liked to, see it stick to like, roads, bridges, rail system, and maybe an expansion of nuclear power or something. Like I think that there's like a lot of extra pork in this bill that isn't necessarily needed. But I mean, if we have to sacrifice, with some of that extra pork to get, roads, bridges, and rails and whatnot, then like that's good. I do agree with Tiberius that the Democrats royally fucked it up because they had the opportunity to take it however far they wanted to. And, like with it taking this long to even pass is, a disaster for them. And the Republicans fucked it up too, because they could have just been like, nope, we're signing this thing. Let's get it through, once they agreed on it. And, they didn't do that. But J0eLewis makes a good point where we need more education. Like education infrastructure is important. Now, I don't think that it's necessarily like a good thing to like, it would be interesting to see like how much the federal government would impose like their education system on everybody when that happens, instead of just leaving it to the local school boards and whatnot. See how, like, I think there would need to be limitations there, but I do agree that there should be, some more funding for the education system. Overall, like any bill that ever gets passed, especially bipartisan bill, there's good, there's bad. And, I'm just glad something has happened. It's been a while.
What do you mean, where's Graham? I'm right here, bitch.
I'm going to fade to Symphonix.
What do you mean? I'm right
so
here.
the Infrastructure
Am I
Investment and Jobs
overexposed?
Act,
Is my lighting blown the fuck out? Yes, it
half
is.
of what we
Look how
have
handsome I
better
am
known
in the
as
main
the
panel.
infrastructure
Look
bill,
how
and that,
beautiful my
of course, is
complexion
what
looks.
passed on the
Look how
15th,
giant my
second half
forehead
being the
is.
American Families Plan.
Where's
Sorry.
Graham?
Honestly, I think this is a good first step, but to be clear, the original proposal of like $4 trillion was
What's being talked?
probably
Infrastructure.
about 10% of what's needed
Infrastructure,
to
baby.
truly, update and modernize our infrastructure. We are so
Aimless
vastly behind
CTV.
and underfunded in these areas that it's not even funny. I agree 100% with Joe that we need to be better funding education. We need to be better funding access to things like internet, utilities. We need to start putting forward renewable energy. There's so much we need to do in this that it's kind of getting left on the floor. What ended up passing was $1.2 trillion, and this is going to be a band-aid on a much larger problem. We're going to be paying
lurking
for
in
this,
CTV's chat.
like in the next 20 years easily, and not just the actual dollar sign cost of the bill, but the things that we just aren't going to be able to fix because of the lack of funding in this bill. So when we're like trying to understand all of this, like it's not really about how we're paying for it. It is more about like why we need it and whether we have to, borrow from Peter to pay Paul, and we have to do that. But these are things that absolutely need to get fixed. Roads, bridges, we need better infrastructure for public transportation, for trains. There's no reason that, we need to rely on these current outdated archaic systems, and we should be modernizing and moving forward, and we should be leading the example for the rest of the world.
Muted.
I thought my Discord was broken. I was scared.
Pro streamer. Real quick, besides CTV, did I forget anyone? Perfect. CTV, take it away.
Does anyone have any idea why I always go last?
Because you're the headliner, CTV. Is that where we're going?
It doesn't matter what you think. It only matters what CTV thinks. Right? And the fact of the matter is that I sit here and I listen to fucking everybody, and nobody had fuck all good things to fucking say. So the reality that I get to pull from this is that the American people, right, think that the bill is absolute fucking shit. It's obvious to me that the Democrats are, like what this is them just having a private cabal, a private contractors. All of the work that they have picked out is going to be lining the pockets of whoever's in fucking bed with them, and that's all it fucking is. That's all it fucking is. It's another one of these shits that gets put on the back of the American taxpayer, and frankly, we're fucking tired of it. Right? Why is it that every time I drive through fucking Connecticut, that the roads are so fucking bad that you pretty much have to have a 4-wheel drive in order to drive on the fucking interstate? Jesus Christ, last time I drove through in the rig, I'm fucking so
Grimbo's
glad
about
that
to
I
come
had
out.
3 levels of airbag suspension before the fucking shock of the road got to my fucking back. Jesus. So, Democrats suck. This is going to be fun. Let's go.
All right, and with that being said, the floor is yours. You can engage.
So I really want to say something else that I think was kind of like absolutely asinine in this is how this has become such a partisan issue, where you have people like Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene going out and saying you need to primary Republicans who voted for this bill, and like people even making death threats to people who voted for this bill. Like, how is improving our country's infrastructure, literally things that are absolutely vital for our day-to-day life, a partisan issue and a bad thing for the country? That's what I don't understand. Like,
Well, that's that right there.
Well, haven't you been around here? I mean, people's mission is not to do anything; is to destroy Republicans, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, this is the kind of goals that people have politically, right? It's not like, oh, let's build systems, let's try to solve this problem or anything like that. It's like, no, we got to destroy Republicans or something. Like, this is not a goal. This is just like it's a battle cry, but you don't even know what you're fighting for at this point. I feel like that's the thing. Okay, go on.
And Sam, I'm glad you asked, because that right there is what I've been saying for a long time. Both of the ends are playing the fucking middle. This is politics fucking 101. It's been happening for so fucking long. The difference now, and this is what I think is important for the Twitch politics community, is to make sure that we're pointing out when the fucking extremes are trying to fucking sway everybody else that's in the middle on either fucking side of shit. This is where the community itself that we put together here can make that difference if we at least keep it to like, yeah, we're going to have fucking drama here and there. But when it comes to like the political shit and what's going on, like, one of the things that made me happiest about this fucking Rittenhouse thing is I saw streamers both on the left and the right that pointed out when the dumb shit was happening. Like when they were saying that he was fake crying, there were a whole bunch of our streamers here in the Twitch politics community was like, nah, that's some bullshit. You shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be fucking doing that. That's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. That's the kind of community I want to be a part of here, right? So, yeah.
I got a question for you. So, are you okay with this bill, or are you not okay with this bill? Because,
there's money to fix that road in Connecticut, apparently.
I look, until they start getting some of the ability to be able to bring tax revenue back into place, like bringing jobs back here, fucking controlling the fucking border, like all of these things that need to be happening as a part of maintaining what the government should be doing, I don't have any faith in them to spend the money that they want my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren to be fucking paying back going into their hands, because they have shown me, right, a 38-year-old man that served 9 years in the Navy, that they don't know how to handle the responsibility that they have for the people by way of the dollar. It's so easily corrupted.
Well, the way they fund it is okay. The way they fund it is basically like federally guaranteed loans, right? So essentially, banks can loan out. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? But it seems like it's basically some institution can loan out money for projects that fulfill criteria, okay, that have to do with this bill, right? And if they succeed, then I guess they pay back the loan. But if they fail, it's guaranteed, right? The person defaults, okay, and then basically the money supply gets diluted with no payoff, right? And that's essentially it. So it's not really them that's like they're basically directing what areas it goes into, but it's all the I guess the individual projects that are going to spawn out of it. I don't think this is a great way to build out things, because it basically incentivizes failure as far as I'm concerned, but or it doesn't eliminate or it doesn't put a cost, like a real tangible cost to failure, in terms of who's funding the things. So you can be less scrutinous and fund more basically malinvestments. Okay, that's my only thing.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about investments in infrastructure, wouldn't better roads, bridges, public transportations increase economic output? I mean, these are things that increase our ability to spend and consume, right? So what exactly do you mean?
Well, it's one of those 6 of one, half dozen of the other, right? Because if you don't have the manufacturing here to get the people, the reason to be able to get somewhere to do a job, then having the nicest fucking road that nobody travels on because they don't have a fucking job to get to is fucking pointless.
Well, I mean, we can talk about like outsourcing of industry all day and night, but when we're talking about the actual physical infrastructure, I mean, to Joe's point earlier about the states that are going to suffer the most are the Gulf states. I'm in Louisiana. I can tell you that when the most recent hurricane came through, Larose, Lockport, Cutoff, Grand Isle, these places were out of power and out of any means of communicating with the outside world for upwards of 3 to 4 weeks. And these people are in areas that are basically third world countries. If they don't have the ability to know what's going on, have power, be able to have clean water, people who are, already destitute when it comes to healthcare, literally relying on internet service for their ventilators that they have at home. These are a lot of retirement communities. If we're not directly investing in not only, roads and bridges, but in broadband like this bill does, but not enough, then we're just leaving them out to dry once again.
I want to piggyback off of this for a second here, because we're talking about Louisiana. $60 billion worth of electrical infrastructure is part of this bill, and so Louisiana, the Gulf Shore states, are absolutely going to get part of that. Another thing is that while it's not talked about in the highlight reel, I-14 was greenlit for the entire corridor. Now, actually, Louisiana and Mississippi parts of that, I don't understand why they're going to take that route, because it goes through literally fucking nowhere. But Louisiana is definitely going to get at least some of the funding that they need for the I-49 project and the I-69 project.
Well, I can at least answer part of that. What you're missing there is the connection that route is going to make is for evacuations. The connection between like Lafayette, Lake Charles, and Baton Rouge whenever there are evacuations, I-10, which is our main route, that one is just backed up for days. So creating another route for evacuation, which inevitably happens multiple times a year, particularly for like Lake Charles, Lafayette area, kind of like the southwest side of Louisiana. I think last year 9 tropical storms hit them. They still haven't recovered. Big shout out to the DSA out there who's actually helping them, not the local government for sure. But I mean, that's kind of what that is. It's to just make more room for evacuations and not necessarily for the things that are causing these floods, like overdevelopment.
Yeah, the 49 project absolutely makes sense in that regard, at least for getting north-south. But east-west is I-14, and the part that doesn't make sense to me is that you can do that. You can like do the I-10 project into Texas if you really want to, if you're trying to evacuate. But it makes more sense for me to go like north into the interior of the country if you're doing evacuations.
Sorry, on the White
Uh,
House.
Real
I
quick,
talked
sorry.
enough.
I want
No, go
I
for
want
it.
to hear from St. Phoenix and after that Montreal.
So I just want to give CTV a little bit of hopium here. Part of this like $73 billion in power infrastructure and clean energy is investing in companies to do
How we doing, folks?
manufacturing, distribution.
How we doing? Did you like that? Was it a
training,
tasty lick?
installation services for renewable sources. So like solar panels, investing in technologies like
Fred,
solar paint and stuff like that.
you can
so if you're looking for
unban
manufacturing or things like
sayings
that, this is definitely something that's
in
going to
the
bring in
Discord,
jobs
but
because you need people to
make
work
sure
in these
he's aware
factories,
that
you
if he
need people
posts
to
cringe again,
installations,
he's going to get the
fixing
ban
and
hammer
repairing.
permanently this
Like,
time.
this is all just kind of how our economy needs to evolve and like change into the modern future. Plus, the other big benefit if we do this is then, hey, now we can export these solar panels. Now we can export these wind farms. Now we can export this solar paint. We can export the people to go out to other countries and train people on installations. Now this becomes an exported thing that we're the world's leader in, and American companies are making tons of money off this.
I do think there's
Montreal. I want to hear from Montreal after that. Yeah.
Right. Because you guys were talking about the roads, and I want to hop on what this guy said. Okay, you guys were
Boys,
talking
we're on
about
the
the
second
roads
beer.
first. When I was reading the White House, release about this thing, they were citing alleviating like inflation because of the congestion that's going on in terms of like importing goods and distributing them and stuff. That's part of what this roads thing was doing, and I was like. It bugs me because it's like in the mindset. I feel like in the mindset, maybe it's just the way they're selling it. Okay, because that's maybe hot in the news right now. But it feels like in their mindset, what they're essentially doing is like, look, we basically want more capacity to just import more crap from overseas, bring it into our ports, and distribute it here. Right, like all the gas this is burning, just bring this stuff over here. Not to mention it's getting manufactured somewhere else where they don't care about environmental regulations, right? But just to make that our main base for the stuff that we buy all the goddamn time, bring it over here and distribute it, right? This seems to be like a big selling point for this bill, and for me it's like that's I mean, whatever, it's nutso. It's nutso to say like, yeah, we're gonna keep doing this, we're gonna keep doing this, we're gonna keep manufacturing useless shit, okay, and find better more efficient ways to bring it to us so we can do this more. Okay, and then the other thing with the green energy, here's the problem I have with green energy generally, and someone could shit on me if I have a bad take on this, right? But green energy seems to concentrate on basically lowering CO2 output. This seems to be the big metric that everyone talks about, right? So anything that lowers CO2 output, we like jump on it like it's fucking amazing or something, right? But I mean, it's what you mentioned: solar panels, batteries, wind farms, right? It's like these the solar panels and the batteries, okay, use materials that are incredibly hard to get rid of, to dispose of, okay, in a safe manner, right? And now it's fine, they're a small part of energy generation, but imagine scaling this all the way up, and then you have to deal with this problem. Even will you even have enough materials to power everything that way? Okay, like that's some stuff that we don't think about at scale right now. And the other thing with like wind farms, it's like the wind turbines, like this is another problem. Like you can't get rid of these things. The way they're manufactured, it's like you can't just recycle them. They have to bury them. Like it's crazy crazy. It's like we think about solutions to get around the CO2 number, right? But then we don't think about like what the actual effects, like the after effects are of the measures that we take to get around it. And for me, it's like this kind of like blind, like first order, like, oh, if it pays off immediately, it's good, and whatever happens after doesn't really fit in my model, I'm not going to get elected for that, right? It's just a lack of long-term thinking bugs me, and I feel like between the way the money is being, or sorry, the way
this is just a complete lack of understanding of how like renewables work.
Saying, I feel like they have, it's very short-sighted. It's very short-sighted in terms of like a sustainable future for us and for the planet, for the impact we have on the planet. Okay, that's it.
So
I want to address both of those real quick. So you're right on the selling point. It's not real. What really this is going to be is that some of that was part of the bipartisan part of the deal, where like California is like, hey, we need to modernize our ports, and so they signed on for it. But by the time those projects are even halfway done, most of the reshoring that we already have, that is already in place, will be done. That's going to take 36 months. But to have these port and airport facilities to do what you're talking about, which is on the bill, that's 8 years. Like literally everything's at capacity right now. It's maxed out. They have to completely like rebuild the infrastructure top down to get it to what they needed to do. And by the time that they're done, the new silicon plants in the United States, even though they're 36 months out, are going to be done by that point. So you are correct in that. When it comes to the green energy, on the other side of that is that this is one of my biggest criticisms. I believe in climate change. I believe that we have to do some serious stuff on that, but it's nuclear. It's nuclear, go home. Green energy, in the way that they've been selling it, doesn't work. The solar panels are gotten a lot better, but you still need the battery tech. Lithium is horrific as a pollutant. And when in the process of mining it, it makes a lot of carbon itself. Windmills are getting there, but you addressed with the blades and whatnot. They're still a problem, but they're still way better than solar. But even with that, that's like 10% of the energy grid at tops. It's either about $7 trillion of nuclear over the next 30 years, or this isn't an issue. Or I'm sorry, this is still an issue.
Right, but I mean, look at what they're pushing. They're pushing more green energy in these technologies. It's like weird. And the other thing, the last thing, and I swear I'll shut up for a bit, okay, is that there's a lot of funding. It seems to be a lot of funding in there into research on how to dispose of the shit we can't dispose of. And you know what that tells me? It's like we're gonna have a lot of plans to like scale up these operations, and we don't actually know, how to make that sustainable or how to get rid of the after effects. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna fund a bunch of research and cross our fingers that someone finds an answer. It's like, whoa, dude, you don't know how you have no exit plan. You're gonna Afghanistan us into climate change. No, but seriously, no.
So our energy infrastructure has never had an exit plan. Like even when I agree 100%, we need to be doing nuclear, but I think part of the problem, if that is that we can't do nuclear everywhere. You have certain regulations and restrictions around where and how much you can do it. I agree, it's probably one of the better options, but we don't really, when we started doing nuclear in the first place, we didn't have an exit plan for nuclear. All of those like depleted cells and everything, we basically have to bury them. But the good news is there is new battery technology that's not lithium based, it's sodium based. So it's much less harmful on the environment. And they have been proven so far in early tests to last just as long, if not longer, than lithium-style batteries.
Yeah, and the nice thing about like funding research is like it helps us try to like find an exit plan where we don't already have them. So I don't know if it's like
Could I just wedge myself in on this real quick?
Yeah.
So Montreal, if we're concerned about how we're going to fund this and the consequences of extracting lithium, would you be perhaps in favor of maybe nationalizing our extraction industry in the meantime as a funding vehicle for getting towards renewable like nuclear?
I don't know. That seems like a very complex question that I guess I would have to think about. I wouldn't have
okay.
These are questions that I'm asking, and you guys can jump in and be like, look, you're wrong about this. Okay. Sure. Again, just the guy, I read the bill, right? I have some beliefs about or I have some like concerns about stuff in general, and I'm trying to bring that lens to it. But
right. But I mean, if we're talking about like bringing jobs into America, if we're talking about like trying to, what are the pay fors? How are we going to get this funded? How are we going to, possibly do any kind of renewable energy projects? Well, the reality is we don't have a lot of labor in the U.S. that's one, unionized, or two, that's actually moving funding into these kinds of projects that we need to move forward. So it would seem like if we want to do nuclear, if we want to find good vehicles to fund these projects, starting by nationalizing our extraction industry is probably the right place to start.
The problem is we don't really extract these raw resources. Those get extracted from places like Chile, Australia.
Well, I'm not talking about like lithium. I'm talking about like our own like natural gas extraction.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, look, as far as okay, I guess as far as like strategies to make extraction more efficient, I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know how I feel about like making one process for it and how that kills any kind of like market signal for it or any kind of. I don't see how that's leveraged. So maybe it is, but I can't really think about it right now. Okay. I guess I'm just more concerned with like this kind of. I'm more concerned with this kind of like attitude that it's like, you know what, what's most important is that we keep consuming. We keep consuming goods, okay? And what we have to do is develop more technology so we can keep up our level of consumption, but bring that CO2 number down, okay? It doesn't fucking make sense, okay? You can't just keep consuming resources, okay? And you can't just keep having your cake and eating it too, okay? You can't just make plans, okay, to create, bigger avenues, okay, for more consumption. You don't know how you're going to dispose of the fucking waste, okay? The CO2 number might be down, but fucking chemicals are getting thrown all over the place. It doesn't matter, I guess. They're getting thrown in some African nation that just isn't going to make us pay that much or something, but whatever. It's just one planet, right? And that's it. There's no there's that. There's the research going into that doesn't have the plan. Oh, the other thing is like, okay, so we're promising a bunch of like or federally guaranteed loans, so you're going to increase the money supply. Hello, inflation. Okay, everyone with cash is going to suffer. Everyone with assets is going to have a great time. How do we limit that? Well, I guess we have to tax the rich, but you got to do it now. You got to fucking take that money out of the fucking supply now. Okay, get it from the rich, I guess. Okay, to rebalance the system, but fuck, you got to do it. You got to pass that. Are you sure you can? You've really put the cart before the horse here. Okay, and it fucking bugs me, this attitude that we're just gonna be like, oh, we're gonna do good things, we're gonna sell all the good things, we don't know how the fuck we're gonna get out of it, we don't know how the fuck we're gonna do it, but we're just gonna keep going and everything's gonna go great. You're stupid. Wait, you don't want people to have better lives? You don't want people to have better jobs? No, I don't want people to fucking drown when your shit fails. Okay, that's what I don't want. Okay, and that's what bugs me about the basic attitude, okay, that is going into this mindset of that we're just going to keep building. Line's going to keep going. Line keeps going up. Okay, and CO2 bad, we'll lower the CO2, whatever, and the other stuff's not in our model, so who cares? As long as the line goes up, everything's great. Like, this is dumb.
I'll address
Okay.
hold that quick for you. Is the whole like lower consumption thing? I'll 100% get you in a logical manner here. The problem is any political entity recognizes at the moment that they actually put that into practice, they're out of office. They will absolutely be voted out of office because no one takes a standard of living cut willingly. They don't want to do that.
No, there's I don't think there's any way out of it. We're stuck in a death spiral as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I don't underestimate the power of human ingenuity, but let me get the other thing here. And I'm actually going to simp a little bit for the Democrats here, because right now it's not working, but it can work. And that is the whole green energy thing, putting in money into wind, putting money into solar, geothermal, biodiesel, all this stuff. While some of it is really bad on the numbers, they've absolutely made strides. And if they can actually put it over where it is green, and not only in carbon, not only in pollutant, but also in the fact that it makes money, this will be the biggest political investment scheme that we've ever seen in human history. Now, I don't know if it's going to work because the data's still pretty fucked on it, but if the Democrats can actually pull this one off, it'll be revolutionary in what it does for human society.
Well, I don't think it's going to pull anything off because, once again, it's putting the onus on the consumer side. It's not doing anything to actually address the larger polluters that we have in the country, like, let's be honest, the State Department. U.S. military is a high polluter. 100 companies pollute 70% of emissions. I mean, if we're simply going to talk about, oh, well, we want to do more charging ports for EVs. Oh, we want to like do some kind of like incentives for people to switch to like electronic transportation. If we're not doing actually like robust public transportation in this country, then more charging ports is just bullshit.
Yeah, you need
Go on.
I'll say what you really do is you need high speed rail in this country.
Yeah.
Like a plane ticket, like for me to go from I live in Omaha. For me to go to Chicago is like $300.
Mhm.
That's ridiculous. I could drive that for a fraction of the cost, and like 4 times the time. But the fact is you need this sort of infrastructure. I also really kind of want to tack on to something too that was being said earlier about the funding. Part of the funding from this was going to come from some of the 2017 tax cuts, specifically on the higher income earners, and those are specifically people making $400,000 a year or
Boy, is
more.
this
It would
Andy
raise their
Gator
tax
is
rates back
hitting.
up to that
Oh my
40%
God.
marginal tax, or like that progressive tax. So basically, anything after that $400,000 a year gets taxed at 40%. I think that's something that was absolutely necessary because that will help with that. And then if people are worried about the consuming, this is part of the reason why funding into research is super important. But right now, there's currently research being done. So that way, say you buy like a tub of butter or something at the grocery store, you take that tub, you put it into a recycling device, and that recycling device feeds into a 3D printer, which then can print out like utensils. It can print out stuff that you can use around your house. It can print out
I'm
all that kind
hydrating
of
with
stuff. So,
beer
like,
tonight,
Is this
boys.
technology available at Christmas? Can I get it? Am I
Uh,
going to get it in the next 10 years? No, but seriously, that's nice. I love living in Star Trek land, but I don't.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing: is if we fund the research into it, because of the way that Moore's law tends to work, we could see this within the next 5 to 10 years.
Let me ask
Okay,
some of y'all a question.
Moore's law, you really a simplistic law is gonna determine human. I know what Moore's law is. Trust me.
Look, China's
fine,
beating
but I
us
just
out on
don't think-
high-speed rail. If you guys want to lose to China, I mean, that's on you. But I would rather beat them. I would rather win that race.
You're not going to beat China on high-speed rail. The United States is not remotely population dense enough to handle that. There's only 2 places in the country that we know it's economically feasible. Number one is the Northeast Corridor. That's largely Washington to New York City or maybe Boston. The other one is the Pacific Corridor, the Cascade Corridor. That's everything from Vancouver down to about Eugene, Oregon. It's the only 2 places that this shit works, and both price tags, just to start the shit, is estimated at $40 billion. California jumped the gun and is trying to do it between, San Francisco and San Diego, Los Angeles. They were earmarked for $30 billion. They're now at over $100 billion.
Well, the answer is not simply just like a national high-speed rail system. We're talking about like 2-line within cities. We're talking about actual like public transportation as far as buses go. Like public transportation doesn't stop and end at like high-speed rail. China, it just invested $400 billion into their green renewable energy projects. What are we investing? Like 65, maybe. Like this is the next boom that we're going to see within our economies. And if we want to miss out on that, if the Republican Party and the corporate Democrats want to lose out on that so they can make short-term profits, I mean, that's on them. But I would rather, be a leader in this.
I'm going to take a lot of those projections and costs is based on like, can we make our money back off this? With something like infrastructure and transportation, you can't do it as a investment, make your money back off it, because it's not something that you can reasonably say. It's something that we have to take the cut on and we have to take the hit on for the betterment of our society as a whole. It's not just like, oh, well, because Amtrak can't make, huge profits on this, that means we shouldn't do it. No, it's because this will benefit our society as a whole. We need to do this.
No, I've got to have a stroke here. Okay, so if you're talking about direct,
everybody slow down. Everybody slow down a little bit, okay? We got to slow down a little bit, and here's why. Because I've been waiting to say this for like 20 minutes. Been sitting here patient, right? I haven't been interrupting, so bear with me. I got to get this out because I got the Biden infrastructure bill up. There's $18 billion of it goes to veterans, but there's $37 billion that's earmarked to go to the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs.
Did he just cut out?
Oop.
Yeah. Got him.
Did we lose him?
They got him.
They got him. All right, cool.
And CIA is in here.
And this happened. Feels bad.
Wait, y'all can hear me now?
No, you
cut out for a
can
second.
hear you back now.
Good now, yeah.
You got a little bit disconnected in the middle of what you said.
Yeah, the stream's dropping too.
Okay. C, do you mind if I take this for a minute?
Go ahead.
Okay. Here's the thing I wanted to get on. I'll absolutely take the L on some of these technologies because I don't think geopolitically it makes sense, and that's the lens that I look through things. High-speed rail, as an example, yeah, it works great for China. Of course it does. They've got 8,000 miles of high-speed rail, or something more than that. I can't remember exactly, and they're planning on double it by 2030. Great, fantastic. They can actually make it profitable. And here's the part where I want to get with Sin. Direct, yeah, you're not going to make that money back direct. It's not one of those deals where we do toll roads here and hopefully we stop doing that shit. Fuck you, Texas, on doing that nonsense. But on the other side of that is that we do have actuaries that do put that in. Hey, what projects do make money back? People have been talking about doing, like, as an example, high-speed rail within the Texas Triangle, doing it on the I-65 corridor here in the Midwest. It's not literally going to be worth it. Even with all of the opportunities that it will build out, it still will not be a positive income to our society. We can do math. And that's the problem here, is that most of these projects we have to be very careful with. Not that we don't know how to do shit, but high-speed rail is incredibly fucking expensive, not only to build, but to operate. And if we don't do it in the right places, it will absolutely shoot us in the foot. We already have something that works. It's called the interstate. We need to fucking double down on this shit because we know it fucking works.
But the problem is, if we can't operate the government like they need to meet a bottom line, because if we do, all of a sudden now we're putting profits over people. When we're considering this, we already operate at a huge loss. And there's other areas that we can really. I mean, if you really want to talk about something government spending, I will give you an example, and that's government federal military contractors. I used to work in that field, and I would get paid $35 an hour, but they would charge almost $400 an hour for my work. Like, that's insane. That's ridiculous. They are bleeding this country dry finaally.
I cannot even entertain this. I really can't. 73% of this government's budget is mandatory spending through something called Social Security. It's the largest social assistance program in the world, and it only helps people 65 and older. Fuck,
it's good.
Yeah, we should lower that age.
Sorry to cut you all, but yes, I wanted to throw it back to CTV because he's been waiting a long time. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, am I back now? Am I good?
Chad, sound good.
So far, so good.
Sound good. Okay. Look good.
Outstanding. Okay. This infrastructure bill, $18 billion to the VA, with $37 to electrify the vehicles for the United States Postal Service. That seems ridiculous to me. There's a lot of other shit that's in this thing that doesn't make any sense. And everything that you guys are saying, right, from Phoenix pointing out, like the White House said on June 24th that the $1.2 trillion Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act would be financed by closing the tax gap, redirecting unspent emergency relief funds, right? Like what? We have a big problem in this country already with corporations not putting back for a rainy day, and the taxpayers end up having to fucking bail them out. So now we're going to be putting ourselves into the point where we're supposed to bail out our own fucking government because the bureaucrats have not been managing their shit right? Like, this is the fucking problem with these assholes that are in fucking these bureaucratic positions. They're not elected, right? And the politicians that get into place, what is the first thing that they have to do? They have to appeal to these bureaucrats to be able to get some of the shit done, or to be able, right, to put laws into place.
Amazing
that benefit
how close
them.
to the answer someone can be.
Where the
so
inherent
far.
problem is with the way shit is set up and why the federal government was supposed to be small to begin with. The next thing
you say $18. I don't know. I need to slow down on the beer. I'm starting to get drunk.
What does that mean? What does anybody here think that targeted corporate user fees means? Right? That right there can be something as simple as a syntax, because that's a targeted corporate user. Back to the consumer, right? Fee. So they use these fucking words to spin the shit around, and this is what it ends up being. New revenue from infrastructure investment, that's speculatory. How can you even know that you're going to get a single fucking dollar back from the thing? All the way around, there's no fucking reason why Biden gets into office, opens up the fucking southern border by getting rid of policies that were in place under Trump, controlling the fucking border, right?
What do you mean they're upholding Title 42?
Excuse me?
I said they're upholding Title 42 right now. They're using Trump era policies to uphold border policy on, like, with Title 42. What do you mean? They're like opening up the border.
What are you talking about? Title 42.
Title 42 is what allowed Trump to have such stringent policies in regard to immigration. I can pull it up right now if you want. I don't know the specifics of it.
Trying to understand how it's correlative and why it fucking matters. The fact
Because
of the matter
this
is,
notion that he's opening up the borders is nonsense.
he's taking a law, the policies that were in place that were allowing the fucking border to be starting to get under control. Where we didn't. When he came into office, he greenlit everybody to fucking head for the border. When he got up behind the fucking podium and said, "I'm not turning anyone back."
CTV,
What the fuck, man?
What exactly?
No,
what
like-
policy exactly are you pointing to that he opened up the borders though? Because they're upholding Title 42. The thing that closed off the border so heavily during the Trump administration. Like, I'm just trying to understand, like, what are they doing to open up the borders?
I'm going to back him up real quick and be like, literally, the Biden administration is going to deport more people than any administration on record this year. Like, it will be over 1 million people deported this year. Like,
Then why are there still so many people coming across the border?
because
The drug war?
So
No,
if the question
look,
is why are there so many people coming across the border? Is this? This doesn't feel like we can like quantify that. Like
I can
Tiberius is laying
absolutely-
out the claim that the Biden administration is going to deport a record number of individuals. And now you're saying that why are so many people coming to the border? Those are two conflicting truths there, and one of the true conflicting claims. So I'm trying to figure out like there's no middle here. One of these things has to be true. You can't have you can't have like saying you can't say like why do I keep seeing people like so many people coming to the border? but then
Patience,
simultaneously
read and
say,
wrap.
why-
Patience.
like, there's record.
It has to be at the
deportation.
Yeah, there's
exact
not even-
Say
moment.
that the people across the border are getting deported across the border, but that's even that's a meme at that point.
Go on,
I-
Joe. I mean, like, right, like, I know Tripwires and Triggers, another Twitch streamer, right? He's down there on the southern border. He's been on Fox News. He does Jason. I can't remember his last name, but he's down there at the fucking southern border of Texas. He's done a whole lot of VODs and videos about different staging grounds for materials for people that are coming across the border, right? He's been down there. He was filming all those people that were there underneath that bridge, right? They're there and they're coming this way, and they're coming this way because Biden opened up the fucking border and told everybody, "Hey, I'm not sending anybody fucking back." And while they may be deporting people like here, the fact of the matter is that the policy that we're talking about, Trump's policy, kept them on the Mexican side of the border, right? So that they didn't already here and then get lost in the fucking system because there's this the whole catch and release thing that they were doing is not fucking working.
I
so
feel like we don't have enough information in real time between the 6 or 9 of us to move forward or engage properly. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's
no, I can address all three of these real quick. The first one, the catcher, why there's so many people coming across the border. We'll start with there. Why are people coming here? Long story short, Guatemala is going to shit, and they're leaving in record numbers. Their homicide rate's literally at 30 per 1,000. It's ridiculously high numbers, and everyone's getting the hell out of Dodge. That's most of them that are coming. Number two, why is it that so many people are being deported? Section, what was it, 42, 41? Can't remember exactly. Help me out here. You
Title
just
42.
referenced it. Thank you. That's still enforced by the Biden administration. And with that, and among with other things, even though in relative terms, we will have more people that are quote unquote caught and released here within the United States, in absolute terms, there are so many people flooding across the border right now that are trying to get asylum, that are trying to come through, that even with the relative being more, in absolute, it's being more that are being deported because there's that many goddamn people. And you've literally had Democrats like Kamala Harris go, "Look, we can't take you right now." Openly down at the border, like, "Look, don't come here. It isn't going to work." And they were like,
I'm
right at
gonna
the party
come.
line, "We would love to have you."
I'm
during the
gonna
election."
come.
Now, I'm not playing politics here to say, "Oh, look at them flippy floppy." I'm saying it's so bad that Democrats are cracking down on immigration.
I mean, that would be nothing new. Fucking Obama, deportation king, baby. Like, let's go.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna take the L on this one. I'll 100% own it. But the reason why people are coming across the borders because South America has been so utterly fucked and destabilized by the 1970s and 80s CIA interventions and coups, and overthrown coups, that does not create a stable form of power within those countries for decades. But one thing I want to be especially clear about, the reason during the Trump administration that we didn't see the same numbers is because the Trump administration was violating international law through the asylum process. These people were never allowed to come here and declare asylum, which through the laws of the rest of the world that we have agreed to and we signed on, they have to be allowed to do. Trump would take them and just kick them right back over the border. Where international law states that the first official that you meet, you declare, I'm an asylum seeker, and then your case goes to the asylum courts. But I want to rewind this back to the point we're talking about with the infrastructure bill. When CTV
the infrastructure bill.
The user fees, something that I just had to look this up because I didn't hear about these user fees until tonight. Those user fees specifically mean things like gas taxes, like taxes at the pump, or things like some form of toll roads. So like say, if you're going through tolling, or they could add airport tolling, stuff like that. That's what those user fees are effectively being allocated to.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say, and I'll wrap up the immigration part of it, was there's a reality to that, and there's a reality not. Did asylum cases go down? Absolutely. The reason why there was a deal between Trump and Elmo, I can't remember what, the Mexican president. They basically set up, if you will, internment facilities on the northern side of or on the south side of the borders with Mexico. Mexico interned them as basically refugees. And so the whole deal is that Mexico got largely what it wanted when it came to security policy and trade policy with UMCA. But in exchange, Mexico basically became a giant processing facility for American immigration. That was the deal. Okay, we can get back to infrastructure now.
Yeah.
I-49.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I don't know. The Annabelle gaslit me into thinking we were doing Rittenhouse tonight, so I'm still lost, honestly.
Get out.
I had something to do with that. Sorry.
Can we take a minute to talk about the second half of this overarching infrastructure bill, being the American Families Plan? This one I think is the more interesting part of it. I know that's not what was recently passed, but I'm really excited to see some of these child tax credits continue on, and funding for childcare and community colleges and stuff. That absolutely.
But the funding for childcare is going to end up raising the prices, right, for the middle class families that are using childcare, correct?
How?
No, what this is doing is this is basically making childcare pre-K and everything like that free at the point of service.
Yeah, but it's no. I thought the free part was taken out, and now it's means tested, correct?
Oh, I haven't seen the means. I haven't seen the recent
there's
changes.
It was watered down.
Of your income ceiling on childcare or something like that. I think maybe they changed when the bill passed, but yeah, they basically want to make pre-K cheaper for people so they could send their kids to get educated at some institutions so they could get back to work. No one wants to go to work, but god damn it, get back there. Get back there and start producing, fuckfaces.
I need a clarification here, because from what I understood is that the basically the infrastructure bill that was actually signed was literally the Senate's infrastructure bill that Republicans agreed to, and all of the Build Back Better shit isn't signed off on it. Like HR 928, the American Family Act of 2021, it's still in introduction. It hasn't even been passed in the House or the Senate. So either I've got some really bad numbers or something's up.
No, you're right. So the infrastructure bill, it was split into two parts. The first of which was what passed recently and was signed into law on November 15th.
Is this boring?
The second part is the
We're starting to get bored.
Which is what is currently on the 19th or something passed the House, and is yet to go to the Senate and get voted on. The American Families Plan contains the child care, the pre-kindergarten, the paid family leave, the guaranteed paid family leave, community college, and I know a lot of this has been drastically decreased.
It's the sock dem side of Build Back Better, right? It's basically the sock dem dream.
Well, this is just the human infrastructure side,
right?
So basically, it was split down into the physical infrastructure, so the tangible, planes, trains, automobiles, roads, whatever.
Yeah,
and then there's
this is a wonk.
Is still important.
Content
it's just
hour.
Not as tangible. You can't really put. It's I don't want to say you can't really put a value on it, but
it's harder to actuary.
Yeah. So, and I think it's like I think it's interesting and important to talk about because like this is a non-tangible side, but this is what they're going to be talking about doing through reconciliation. Which the last thing I heard is Manchin said on
He's not doing it.
Friday on Twitter. He
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, let's do reconciliation," and I know AOC was like, "All right, I'm gonna hold you to it." So that'd be cool. But I don't think it needs to be Manchin or Sinema. I think it can be any of the Republicans in Congress too can come and do this. Like,
We're not signing on. I
Yeah,
guarantee
no,
it,
the
we're not
Republicans
signing
are signing
on.
on to this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I know.
Yeah,
But
this
it
is the
should be.
Dr. Dream. Oh, I couldn't disagree, or I couldn't disagree more. Like, okay, I don't like where the Republican Party is in every facet. I hate that because of CRT, we're walking into public choice or public school, or excuse me, school choice. Fucking terrible ass idea. I want my schools fucking funded, and I want to be there a part of the curriculum. I don't want CRT, but on the other side of that is I want to be part of that curriculum. And I want public schools, and I don't want rich kids having their own fucking playground that they can run off to and leave us with no funding. So on the other side of that is that when it comes to human infrastructure, I don't blame you for wanting to do that. I get it. You guys are on the left. We're on the right. I want a completely different thing. I'll 100% back you guys in revamping education. I'll 100% back you guys in talking about healthcare. I want to trade for it, which I'll let you know what that is. But a lot of this other shit, no. You can't pay your bills. That's a whole other conversation. We need to hit that from the ground level.
But it's not even at that point just not being able to pay your bills. There are certain things. It's like I said with the transportation stuff. There are certain things in society we have to admit and we have to understand that we just have to have some sort of funding or some way to pay for these.
And the Postal Service operates at a loss, and it's essential.
Yeah, if we got rid of the Postal Service, Amazon would cease functioning in like 80% of the country within 2 weeks.
You are absolutely selling me on screwing over the USPS right now.
Well, that's
Brilliant.
something I was confused about. Where like we get mail every day from a bunch of different entities, whether it be the USPS, FedEx, UPS, Amazon. And I'm curious as to like the idea of having vehicles that are always going to be on the road pretty much every day, save a handful of holidays, trying to switch that over to electric is a bad thing. It seems like if we're going to have vehicles that are on the road for that long of a stretch, we probably should look at other means so we're not just wasting oil on these things, no?
Yeah, I mean, UPS trucks operate off of propane, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah.
So part of this is the Republican side of this bill. What is it? The $60 billion that is going into rural communities and getting fiber optic and what there. I hope we can forward that into, phasing out USPS, where it's like, hey, you got a phone, you got an email. I'm sorry, excuse me. You got your bill for your phone, you got your bill for your electric. Just goes through your email. You pay online.
Well, sadly, you can't have your pharmaceuticals emailed to you.
Yeah, there's some things you have to have with the physical delivery. Like if you're getting benefits packages,
we have delivery
work, those
systems
have to be
for useless garbage from China, so you can use that infrastructure.
There's not like some sort of magical cannon that like shoots, my fucking Warhammer figures from China to my door. It doesn't like automatically just get there. Yeah. Maybe Games Workshop is gonna come out with a drop pod.
Look, you'll get those Imperials through the space cannon eventually.
Hey, I know. No. How? Get that right.
Aside, like, I mean, look, I live in the sticks, guys. I get it. Like, internet connection's a bit of a bitch in some places out here. We definitely need an upgrade. But on the other side of that, our logistics systems are fine. You know whose isn't? Your cities. Your city logistics systems are the ones that are fucked up. We don't have to worry about getting our fucking meds. We literally just jump in the car. We drive 10 minutes and we're there at the pharmacy. Some of you guys have to go like an hour. You have to walk. It's horrible. Like, this is not literally an us problem where like, oh, Granny can't get it. We take care of our own. That's actually a you guys thing.
I don't know who the you guys is, but
you guys like city folk, city slickers,
the city folks, the city slickers.
I don't understand the point.
Yeah,
a suburb livers.
It seems like a case for USPS then. If we understand that like different communities have different ways of getting goods and services, and we ought to not take the one infrastructure, the one part of the infrastructure that's used for that, and just like belly it up, right?
I'll put it this way. I'm largely in favor of transitioning from what we have. Most of your bills, most of the things you get through the mail, absolutely aren't even need to be there. And we already get enough junk mail as is. I don't need any more in my goddamn mailbox. We don't need USPS delivering this. But on the other side, if you're talking about like package delivery for Amazon, why are you guys absolutely subsidizing a corporate monopoly anyway? The fuck is wrong with you? Aren't you lefties?
Look, if you
No,
want to
I
talk about
agree.
breaking up Amazon, we can have that conversation.
Let's
I mean,
fucking
this 2-day
go.
shipping
Yeah,
thing is
I'm-
bullshit anyway. Like, when was the last time you actually got a 2-day shipping on an Amazon Prime delivery? Let's be honest.
Wait, where do you
Yeah.
live?
I'm in the
Again, I'm
sticks out in
really- I'm
2
Louisiana.
days ago.
Oh,
Thursday?
that
No,
makes
Thursday,
sense.
yeah.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
and let's be honest, right? Amazon does a lot to drop off a hell of a lot of pallets over at the fucking post office, and then the post office ends up having to sort all that shit and then go deliver it out. It's like, if Amazon is going to perform the service, then Amazon needs to perform the service and not basically be fucking co-opting the government, right? Which has a responsibility to the people by way of the Constitution to build and maintain post roads and offices,
That's right.
right? And
He's
take
right.
Oh,
advantage
seriously,
of
is
it.
Amazon
You know what?
using like
I'm on his
what's
page
supposed
now.
to be designated for the
Amazon,
public?
I'm on it.
deliver their own
takes
shit?
advantage of what's
Yes.
known as last mile delivery. Part of the problem with last mile delivery is back in Bush era, I don't remember exactly what year it was, when we introduced the static forever stamps that they're never going to increase in price and shit like that, and they're good for whenever, is that we charge Amazon a flat amount and we don't charge them per parcel weight or anything like
The timing
that.
was off.
So if we charge them like a sum total of the weight of parcels and kind of divided at the math a little bit more and changed how we were charging companies, it's not just Amazon, by the way, UPS, FedEx, DHL, any of the other major delivery services all operate through this. And if we normalize that out to charge actual value, the Postal Service would no longer be operating at a loss. Like, personally, I don't have a problem with last mile
Yeah,
delivery.
the timing was off
as
because
long
Phoenix
as
was
we
talking.
start charging what it's worth, not just being like, hey, we're gonna let you do this for, say, $100 million a year, and then we're taking like a $900 million loss on it or something.
If private company wants to deliver their private shit, they should pay private prices. I mean, I feel like that's a no-brainer, no?
Well, yeah, that's what we would be. But that's the whole point to do is like, if we want to offer last minute delivery, because the whole point of it is you're going there already, you just want to take this with you. Like, do you ever have that moment where you're like, someone's like, hey, I'm going over here, and you're like, did you grab me a burger? And they're like, yeah, sure. You got some money? Like, that's the idea behind it, which is fine if we start charging them more for what the service is actually worth. Like, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. We just need to make sure that what we're charging is the value that it's actually slated for.
Do we have a consensus here? Fuck Amazon. Let's go.
Yeah,
at
break
this,
up
left-
Amazon. Hell yeah, brother.
Left-right unity.
Let's do it.
There's a lot
Actually-
of points of left-right unity if we could get over it. Sorry, Joe. Go.
No, nothing. It just seemed weird to me. Is all. I mean, I'd love to talk about education for a bit, but it
Yeah,
seems like
sure.
that's going to be a
Well,
bridge
before
to
we
me.
get to education, there was another thing that got said earlier that I did want to come back to, and the $400,000 marker, right, for the taxes. Like, I don't feel like that's anywhere near high enough. And let me explain. Like, imagine being a truck driver. Has anybody else on the panel been a truck driver or drove trucks? Okay, so
My
hardwood
family
stock.
is a legacy of truck drivers, so it's
So you might know what I'm talking about too, right? So like at the end of the year, as a truck driver, you might gross $400,000 or above, right? So then guess what? You come into this category where you're going to get the higher tax rate. But the reality is that after you pay the taxes, the fuel taxes, vehicle taxes, the fucking taxes to fucking keep your license, right? All of these things ahead of time that you already pay to the government, and then you have to pay for keeping and maintaining your vehicle, right? Then you have to pay for the fuel to go do the thing. There's so many costs just being a fucking truck driver that you end up in this category, and now you don't get anything at the end of the year. This is why, like, if you go and you call some of these places to see where they work, the wages are like nowhere near where they need to be. And then you imagine that there's a lot of smaller trucking companies that are doing the same thing, and they are above the $400,000 mark. Lots of them, right? And then they don't get to be able to pay their workers because of all the increased taxes, the higher wages that they frankly should be getting for the amount of work and time away from that they have from their family doing the job.
CTV, that stuff is tax deductible though. Like the biggest thing that my family will always complain about is the hours that they're on the road that aren't accounted for when they're working. Like that's
Well,
a
that's what
bigger
I'm saying.
thing than the things that are tax deductible at the end of the year. Like a lot of the things that like my uncles and aunts, would complain about is the fact that there's a lot of hours that are not factored in because by the time they would end up like they're like again like we're talking about an industry that they have workers on the road 80 plus hours a week. That's
No, I've done it.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And to
It's
add
not-
on
none of
to
that's- and a strong portion that isn't factored in. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so-
typically drivers only get paid by like either cents per mile, which means you're moving, right? Or you get paid percentage of the load. That's the only two ways I've ever been paid driving vehicles, right?
Well, isn't there a push right now, like to make it universally hourly? Like, didn't
yes,
someone propose that in the
Mhm.
in the house?
There's also pushes to say that you can't like stress your drivers to drive over a certain number of hours a day or like
Mhm.
distance per day.
Oh, that's already
Yeah,
law.
that makes
yeah,
a lot of
in a
sense
thing.
because, like, I was a delivery driver for 5 years, and like something I realized very consistently throughout that is it is like it's pretty crazy in some ways to like have to show up somewhere and like drive a car, no matter like what state you're in, as far as like how tired you are or whatever, and like definitely having limits on hours is like probably a pretty important regulation.
It's already
I don't-
there.
Like
It's 10
occupation, whatever.
hours.
Yeah.
It's 10
Yeah,
hours. It's 10
Wait,
hours
no.
and then you need 12 hours of rest.
it's
Yeah,
it's
that's
there,
they're
but
mandatory
the
like
No,
hours,
problem
and then
that's
you shouldn't be
definitely-
driving anymore.
the problem
not-
that
That's not what
I've-
the law is per hours, right? What the law is you start a 14-hour clock at the beginning of your day. Within that 14-hour clock, you have 11 hours that you can drive, and then after you are
what they're
done
missing
for the day,
is
you're
that
required to take a 10-hour
the majority
break.
of truckers that
doesn't
are
happen.
caked up as far
Well,
as
no,
like
it
their
does-
wages
No,
go,
it does
are,
happen, right? And it has to
are
happen now
unionized.
because they have all of the
and their unions
vehicles
are able
now,
to
unless they are
actually like
predated to,
collectively
like,
bargain
1990
for
something. They're
those
required to have the
those
electronic logs
wages
on the vehicle.
and for those
Now,
those hours to
you're
be
sitting there
logged.
and you're saying, well, we
Like,
should
there's
be
still
limiting
problems,
these
but
things.
the ones that are
reality of most
unionized don't see
situations
those as
is
much.
that whenever the driver gets to the dock, wherever they're going to be pulling into, they typically don't have parking, right? And you might be able to find a spot 15 minutes down the road.
it's a
And
parking
you're
issue, yeah.
and you're waiting for the fucking docking place to be able to get into, but as soon as you
I
move
want to
the
be able
truck,
to interject with
soon as
that,
you
but I'm
move the
trying
truck,
not to
the
like
fucking
talk
clock will
over
start
people.
up again. Now you've got a log violation, and now you're sitting in the world of fucking shit. So what you end up having is you have a lot of drivers trying to be as close to the fucking docking station, like Walmart's fucking distribution center right here where I'm at. These motherfuckers are parked on the side of the road because of the laws that are in place, and that creates problems for the rest of the community because the drivers are having to follow this stupid ass fucking law. This is where the law needs to be working for the people all the way around instead of creating the situations that fucking has this dumb shit happening, because who knows how tired someone is more than the driver, right? The reason why the laws were put into place to begin with was to prevent corporations from being able to exploit its workers, which I felt like was a great thing, especially when I went back and I read the history when it was started back in the 1930s, right? Because there was a Great Depression, everybody's fucking looking for jobs, and they were like, you know what, if you won't fucking drive 28 hours over here and deliver that fucking load straight through, I'll get somebody else that'll fucking jump in there. I don't give a fuck about you, right? You're just a number. But now we're in the situation where the government has become so fucking powerful and so fucking micromanaging of this fucking industry that like nobody wants to do it really, because the pay just is not there for the amount of time that you spend away from home. Why in the fuck should I bother being away from my home 80, 90 hours a fucking week, which is what 100 hours, not even going home for the week sometimes, whenever I can go out and fucking get a job working on air conditioners and be home at the end of the day every fucking day. Why should I drive the truck? And that right there is the problem. That's a part of the infrastructure of the country and how goods and services are moved around.
Oh, he's so close.
So if you don't take care of the industry by not restricting it so much with the laws, you're not going to be able to encourage people to do the fucking work that needs to be done.
Well, I actually
This almost feels like a bit of a manufactured problem. Like, so I work in software. Like, I feel like this could easily be solvable. Like, if your destination is 100% loaded
I have to say I'm not a fan of edging.
in, like, there should be a pretty easy way to solve that through just modifying the internal computer system, like just a software update or something. Adding a couple switches, adding a couple buttons, and tapping things that you can just easily.
It's not about that.
easily
Hardwood
solve.
I'm
sock
sure if you
taken away,
could
dude.
just
No,
do it, someone would have found a way.
Yeah, hardwood
no.
sock.
It's really not that easy because like as soon as that truck starts going 5 miles an hour, it starts running that clock again. All right, and like even if you stop, right, then you have to like re-put yourself on break. But it like there's a countdown meter of when you can of your reset time, right? So in my opinion, like the trucking industry is like far too regulated, right? Like there's so many law, like rules and regulations that truckers have to follow, right? And if they don't, well, they can get completely fucked, right? And like one thing going on with like the supply chain issues, right, is at these ports, right? You have truck drivers sitting there waiting, right, for these containers. It's not necessarily that there's a truck driver shortage. It's that like it's just not moving quick enough, right? And a bunch of truckers don't even want to do those because they end up sitting there waiting in the port for like 12 to 14 hours. And in those 12 to 14 hours, guess what? They're not getting paid. So why would you, like, there's no incentive to be a truck driver right now, right? So like there's so many regulations and rules, like especially in certain states like Connecticut, they came out with like you have to pay like a tax to even travel on their interstates, right, per mile. Like it's like a cent per mile tax for a trucker.
Yeah, like a use fee.
Yeah. All right, well, why the hell would a trucker want to go there? Oh, hey, I'm gonna pay you to work in your state, right? Well, when it's like I'm literally trying to deliver goods or move goods
I
around.
really want to get
right?
in on this.
California, there's I believe that they're trying to get through rules and regulations where it's like you have to have a X year truck or newer, or you're not allowed to drive in the state. It's not allowed to be registered in the state.
Right,
You
and
know,
that makes sense. And my only point was that we just need to be smarter about all this stuff. Like, if it's overregulated, then let's look at those regulations. Let's take a very serious look at what we can get rid of and what we don't need anymore. Because I admit, there are times when there are too many regulations. There is such a thing as, like, too many regulations.
Well, yeah, that's where, like, as we started this conversation, you were making the justifications for keeping it right off the bat instead of saying, well, okay, I don't have much experience in this particular industry because there's so many industries out there that me and Hardwood and Sock got some real life experience on the ground with it, right? But
my original point was making sure that we're taking care of the health of the drivers. Like, if you're on the road for too long, it is a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But also saying that there easily could be a part of this, like, if you're just sitting there waiting, like, I don't know, like, maybe that is a technology issue where, like, if you start moving, like, can you just put yourself in, like, I maybe like a wait mode that says, "Hey, I'm here, but I can't drop this off."
No,
so
you can't.
This wait mode.
Is there anything in the infrastructure bill that's actually addressing anything you're talking about, like the truck drivers?
I don't believe so.
At this point?
I mean, Biden did do a change that these ports are open 24/7. I don't know where that exists in certain states, but
It's mostly for the
unfortunately,
Los
it's, like,
Angeles port, I believe.
correct. And they're looking, last time I heard, they're looking to extend it to places like New York City in particular, but I don't know where they are in the stages of that, because there is also the issue of deliveries having a finite amount of time for you to get there. So it's just like it's a bunch of problems that they've always been there. Like, these were things that, like, my family have been complaining about since the 90s. And it seems like because of other agitating factors that we're now having to deal with this head on. And that kind of feels like the problem with the our issue with the infrastructure more broadly, in that it seems like these are things that we should have been addressing continually every single year, and we've just been failing to do that at the federal level.
Could it be that we're kind of missing out on an essential part of this conversation surrounding, like, truck driving? That, one, investments in infrastructure improve a lot of these issues. Like, CTV, you were talking about, like, a lack of space for drivers to park. That is 100% an issue that we can alleviate through infrastructure. And as far as the regulations go, most of the truck drivers who are caked up right now are unionized, and unionized workforces for truckers do allow for them to bargain for those kinds of protections when it comes to overworking them or what kind of hours, where they can park. At least being able to give them that power to be able to.
Everything you just named off is not a part of anything that a corporation or a union can do for the driver, because it's being controlled by the law.
Yes, they can lobby for those laws to be changed as part of a union, though.
There is really no point in a truck driver being a part of a union, because there's nothing more to be done, because the law is what it is. The only thing that could change is, in fact, the law. That's how regulated this fucking thing is.
Yeah, but being part of a union, I mean, ask anyone who's a Teamster, like, they'll be able to tell you that these people are able to actually lobby for regulations to be changed in their state or federally.
Right. So lobby doesn't have a fucking thing to do with the everyday Joe going down the road.
It's being part of a union, being able to lobby, doing kind of like labor actions that allow you to change these regulations.
When is this guy that's working 80, 90, 100 hours a week going to have a fucking bit of time to, if he's concentrating on the road and not jacking around on his fucking cell phone or having his legs hanging out the fucking window, right?
Literally
You might
want
to ask the Teamsters about that, because they are actually able to do that.
You don't like the truck drivers themselves don't like actually go out and spend the time lobbying. It just basically like the union itself pays for like a lawyer to represent them.
Well, I get that part. My point is there's no point where the union does a fucking thing for the everyday guy, because if the laws don't change, and they haven't been, the only thing that's been happening is an increase in regulation over time, and it hasn't ever been scaled back. Right? Trump coming into office was one of the first real attempts to try to scale back government that I've seen in my life.
That's
Everything
absolutely ridiculous.
Hold on.
It's not.
We've accepted like we know unions can work. Look at police unions. I think the issue is like, how do we get unions that are as powerful, as influential as the police union in other industries? Like if there was a union as powerful as the police unions are for truckers, I think we'd be having a much different conversation here.
Well, there's quite a few Go ahead. Go ahead, Sock.
I want to like kind of, go off of like what you were saying, like with, we're facing all these issues head on, and I couldn't agree more with you, right? The pandemic kind of made us face all these issues that have kind of been compounding throughout the years, right? Sure. All at once. And like I think that what's lacking a lot in just our government in general, whether it be infrastructure or whether it be education or whatever, is just we have a lack of oversight and a lack of consequences, right?
Sure.
Like this money just gets spent, and no one's really, or these regulations are implemented and no one's really going back and reviewing to see, hey, what are the effects of this? And I think like that's like it's a very broad issue, that goes, whether, like I said, whether we want to talk about education or whether we want to talk about, roads, bridges, and, inspections or whatever you guys want to talk about. Like, I
don't
feel
think
like we have a lack
CTV
of oversight
knows how
and
unions actually
accountability when it
operate. Of
comes
course he
to,
doesn't. He's an
us
Amerifat.
spending money.
No American knows how
wherever we
unions
are,
work. They think it's like
in
somebody
regards
else
to
coming in, when literally it's like the people who are working.
Serious lack of respect for the law.
CTV, sorry to cut you, but like we're going to run out of time, so I'm gonna have to end this topic. I'm sorry about that, I know. So yeah, we're going to go into closing statement, and I'm going to start by Joe.
No, I want to go first. I want to.
Okay.
I want
CTV, and after that, Joe.
Yeah, I want to piggy this, right? So the fact of the matter is that there's a lack of respect for the law. We have situations specifically that I've seen in the trucking industry where the law says one thing, right? And then what ends up happening is the lobbying that you're talking about goes to take the cost and penalty away from the driver and then shift it to the corporation. But the principle of the law being the law, right, doesn't actually fucking matter at this point, because the corporation, right, if you get an overweight ticket, well, the corporation's like, oh, we'll pay the ticket. So now, right, it's a way for the corporation to be able to exploit the driver and say, you're going to haul over that 80,000 pounds, even though that right there is the federal limit. And that right there creates a big fucking problem for me, because it's like, if 80,000 pounds is the law and that's what's supposed to be safe, just because you'll pay the fine doesn't make it fucking right. There's a whole lot of that shit going on in our system with regard to this industry, and I can only imagine that it happens in other fucking industries along the same fucking line. This is where we need to start really taking a look at our bureaucrats and how it is that they treat the people that are doing the fucking job versus what the penalty or what the principle is.
He's
that you're
actually
trying to
like
hold to as far
making
as this
decent
is the
points
limit,
here.
right? And not being able to just, well, somebody else will pay a fee and you're
like
fine,
outside of the
just
union
fucking do what
stuff,
we're
like
telling you to
he
do.
is correct. Like these grievances of people who are working in this industry do need to be addressed.
They don't give a fuck about anything. How well you check out your truck, they on down the line, for how much of a quality worker you are, they don't give a fuck. And that the whole mentality of government has got to change all the way around. If any of the issues that are facing the American people are going to be solved, has to be done from that. And if it's not, then we're just going to end up continuing this fucking spiral to where it's shit and we can all kind of see it coming.
All right, I'm going to throw it to Joe.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the infrastructure bill, there are some things that are great first steps, but obviously these things can go far. I'll say the same thing that I did in my opening as I will in this closing. The amount of funds that the federal government does towards public education is embarrassing. These have been problems that have existed for decades now, and we're seeing the impact of a crippling school infrastructure across the United States, especially in the South and Midwest. Broadly speaking, about 40% of schools
I'm
in the
looking at
United States
CTV's chat
need
right
some
now, and
type
it's
of
just like the
improvement
most
of
racist
HVAC
shit.
or some type of ventilation or some type of improvement of air conditioning systems. That is a number that is disgustingly too high, no matter how you cut it. If 40% of any industry has a deficiency in one particular area, there should be funding towards that particular area. And then on top of that, you have 27% need some type of improvement in interior light fixtures, and then another 27% to roofing, 25% just for safety and security. So 25% of our schools have issues in safety and security, and we see this manifest itself when there's isolated incidents of school shootings across states
When you
that
see the word
some of which have
Detroit
never had school
in
shootings
somebody's
historically.
chat, you know
an
it's popping off.
issue top to bottom. Again, like, I understand that people, especially Democrats, will love to
Oh God.
fucking suck
Oh
their own
God.
cocks when it
I
comes
need to turn
to
off his
the
chat.
ARP, ESSER funding, but that COVID relief funding is just, for me, long term, piss in the ocean. I think the federal government needs to have a concentrated, dedicated, consistent investment in public schools, period. They spend less than 10% of the budget that comes towards schools broadly goes towards, from federal funds, goes towards public education. Now, there are states like Alaska, they're in like the 14-15%, but by and large, the federal government does not give a fuck about public education.
Yeah.
And I think from a bipartisan level, if Democrats want to prove themselves that they are actually the party that is in support of public education, then they should invest in it. If Republicans want to prove that they are the party that is actually protecting children and protecting parents, then I think they ought to look into these things like infrastructure and the increasing in fundings at the federal level. I think if there's one thing that the infrastructure bill should have had, was an increase in public funding towards education, or sorry, not public funding, excuse me, just federal funding towards public education, because that got stripped and Democrats are the blame of it, but Republicans can't really say anything because they also don't give a fuck about public education. So whichever party decides to do that, great. If it's bipartisan, that's probably going to be even better for people if we're trying to look for something unilaterally. Because if I believe that public schools are the number one thing that you can give to somebody to make sure that they have better outcomes in
Preach.
society,
God
then I think that
damn,
we should
he's
ought to
good.
have an overinvestment in this rather than little to no investment at all.
All right, I'm going to throw it to Montreal player.
Right. It's too bad. I actually wanted to hear about how it would impact education. Anyways, further conversations. But that's it.
I love Joe.
It seems to me. I also would like to hear how people would feel about if rural areas did get connected with minimum high-speed internet and subsidized internet, and how that might affect things. But anyways, whatever. We can't get everything. In my opinion, that kind of shift to that type of work that requires more of an internet connection, rather than physical, than the need to physically be there, it was interesting to me, as far as like a shift of what kind of industries people here in North America might shift to, and what the effects would be on that. I think a lot of it sounds good on the first thing, and then you think about what the repercussions might be. That I guess the second, third order consequences of that might be, and it starts to scare me. Or scare me, anyways. It starts to raise concerns. How about that? And that's it. It's strange. I hate this sock dem mentality, honestly, of let's just keep building, let's just cross our fingers and hope our research finds solutions. to problems.
It's almost
without
like we
actually
can look at
knowing
other
if
countries and see how
those
they've done it, and
solutions are,
whether or not it was successful or not,
actually practical.
and then go from there.
And that's it. And I feel like this is just reeks of that kind of mentality. And honestly, and it's just going to keep going, because I think structurally there's no incentive to do anything else. And that's it. I am worried about the fragility of how we're building our system and how we're continuing to build our system. We're not learning our lessons, and that's it. And all I can do is
What's up, Pat?
hedge against.
Hope you're doing all right, buddy.
Yeah, that's it. It's
Everybody say hi to Pat. He's in training right now.
Also,
send him some love.
So don't. I'm not an expert here. Just my thoughts. Okay, that's it for me. That's a closing statement.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Earthly.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Joe that I feel like there should be a lot more funding going to public education. And I think like right now, like when all these within the last year or two, just like watching like so many of these like schools that just don't have great funding in the first place, try to have to like transition into like digital learning and all these other things that they like don't really have the money or resources for it to do like super efficiently, and how much of a disaster that's been for some schools. I think that is definitely an area that now of all times we probably should be more focused on. And I also think that like it is generally just a good first step in a lot of areas towards like infrastructure we probably don't have enough of, like cleaner energy and stuff like that. And I think something we should focus more on going forward is like making our infrastructure more replaceable, so we aren't just always stuck in this dichotomy between stuff that we're very dependent on and stuff that we kind of need.
All right. Sorry, wait. Were you done? Because
oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there was a delay between image and sound, so I thought you were still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it to Symphonix.
Yeah, like I said in my opening, this bill is a good start, but it is unfortunately a far cry from what's actually needed. I think that the original plan of like $4 trillion a year or $4 trillion should have been like a once a year for 10 years type of deal to actually fix the problems that we have. But I agree also with Joe, where we need to be better funding education. It's incredibly important. Our education system is drastically suffering. Like, we haven't been one of the best education systems in the world for a very long time. And I also agree that, the broadband access is super huge, but, you got to take what you can get and keep fighting for what you need. So, and I think that's the unfortunate reality that we live in. But that doesn't mean to just, roll over and let it happen. That just means we need better public advocacy. And so, talk to people, call your senators, get more. We need to get more done. We're not done yet. We still have a long way to go.
All right, Tiberius.
Yeah, so I largely with the opening, I opened up with more of the partisan line, so I'm going to close out with a more bipartisan line. I think this infrastructure bill was a step in the right direction. I think that, unfortunately with the Republicans stripping of themselves and not signing on it doesn't help ease the tensions between Americans. But in a general regard here is that as far as the policy is concerned, most of it.
I'm going to have to be a centrist, Andy, for this closing argument.
I got a little bit of this, you got a little bit of that. It's called compromise.
Try and hold back your bile. I'm
going
to have to do it
more of it. Let's
for
do some more.
rhetoric's sake.
Now, we've got some other stuff on the bill that we need to do. Chips for America Act, bipartisan bill. Most support's behind it. Let's get it fucking passed. Let's get it done. Let's bring manufacturing back to the United States. Let's make this shit work. And we can do it together or we can do it apart. But I'm tired of the divisiveness shit because you know what? I understand. I'm on the right. You're on the left. We're not going to agree on fucking everything. But there's a lot more we agree on than we act like. And it's time we start fucking getting some of this done. Excuse me. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Gremloe.
All right. So, yeah, to echo a lot of the points that everyone here made, I don't think everyone on this panel thinks that this was a slam dunk for either of their parties. We probably want things to be better in a lot of regards. Education, I really tackle hard on the broadband issue. I worked for an ISP for a couple years, and I have some insight on, why things are the way they are. So Montreal player, if you're ever interested in talking about that, I would definitely love to talk to you about it. But I think the takeaway that we can, pull from this is we're not getting a lot out of this whole situation. And whether it's roads, education, healthcare, child tax credits, whatever it is, we're not getting enough out of this. And we really need to demand more of the people in power who actually have sway over this. And that's pretty much my take.
All right. Last but not least, how do we then talk?
Yeah, so infrastructure good, I'm glad that something was done.
See, centrist Andy
we
reaching
can
across the
disagree
lines
on some of the green energy stuff. I kind of subscribe to more like what Tiberius and Montreal are talking about in regards to that. We definitely need to bring more manufacturing back here.
The American people are
whatever
tired of women.
whatever we can do to do that in this infrastructure
Montreal
bill,
player, thank you for the follow.
is great.
I see you, buddy.
What's
going on? You're looking handsome.
Like I don't have like a great opinion of it. I just think that it's basic, stuff that I think is important.
Centribo, yeah, that's right.
So I'm not like hard disagree or hard support. I think it's just it's blah. It's a bipartisan bill, so
you can call me Joe Manchin because I'm reaching across the aisle here.
I like centrist things, so that's kind of my stance on it.
All right. Before
just disinfect yourself when you come back from our side of the line, please. I will. Trust me, I will.
Thank you all once again for being here. Really appreciate it. So yeah, everyone in chat, if you agree or even if you disagree with people, go check their content. Go check every streamer that is here right now. They're worth it. So yeah, thank you all for being here. Also, thank you to Danabo for putting all of this together, booking everyone and everything. He's doing a wonderful work behind the scene, not just for this show, but for the main show too. By the way, Dylan Birds TV every Friday, 8 p.m. EST for the main Hippy Dippy. And go support him, twitch.tv/Danabo. Usually when I'm doing the recruitment, he's doing the skybox, so you get the extra commentary. And patreon.com/Danabo. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And let's jump into the last topic, which is a fun one. Oh, by the way, before I jump into this, I just want to throw this out there. You know that like this show is
not over
like
yet. Hold tight, folks. Don't leave.
The web is
Don't leave.
Still open. Discord is still open. So if you want to continue to talk about all of this,
also,
absolutely.
Thank you to all the moderators who are hanging out, making sure that the chuds that are not coming in.
This is a fun one.
Oh.
So, Thanksgiving food debate. So, broad question. So, what will you be cooking or eating over the holidays? Turkey or ham? Cranberry sauce, canned or homemade? Everything. Sweet potatoes or yams, pumpkin pie, apple pie. Share with us what are you going to eat. Like, do you have any strange holiday traditions? All of this. So I'm going to start with Tiberius because he has a big smile.
Gremloe time?
Hopefully
Possibly.
I don't actually have the horrible food take that apparently I always have. By the way, Chicago deep dish pizza is still amazing.
God, Tiberius and your food takes.
Oh no.
Anyway, so what we'll be doing for Thanksgiving is usually probably what we do for every Thanksgiving. All right, so three largely big dishes. We usually add a couple on it. Number one, the ham. You have to have ham. What you do is you cut it all up nice and neat. You slice it. You put it in a deep pan, and then you soak it in pineapple juice for about an hour. You throw it in the oven, give it a nice warm sear. Absolutely soaks in during the time. Oh, it's delicious. Absolutely fantastic. Second thing is you got to have your mashed potatoes, maybe gravy. You don't really need it if you season it and salt it well enough. But if you want to have your gravy, you can have that too.
What is he showing on camera? What is this? Is this his insulin needle?
Absolutely.
Is this his Amerifat needle?
Wonderful. Gotta have it. Make it work for yourself. And then if you want to add a little bit more on that, because we're Americans and we love to be fat, get a little bit of stuffing, get a little bit of some steamed vegetables, It's all good times, all great times. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing for Thanksgiving. I'm going to be really fat when it's over.
Actual
All
teaching.
right.
More cushion for the pushing.
I'm going to trade to Joe.
I ain't cooking shit. I'm going to my co-sister-in-law's. She's Italian. There's gonna be like 80 people there, so I'm just gonna fucking ball out. And my girlfriend's from
That's
Pakistan.
ivermectin,
She
brother.
hasn't really like experienced Italian Thanksgivings before, as she told me. So she's gonna have a lot of fun. The only Thanksgiving take that I have is the same take that I said on Twitter. If you cook turkey drumsticks, you're a fucking idiot, and you should probably stop cooking.
Actually,
stop
a good
going into any
take.
type of culinary. If you cook drumsticks for Thanksgiving, you're a fucking idiot. Now, if you have a dog, that's a different case because you can feed it to your dog. I just don't understand why we would spend so much money on 2 pieces of a bird that's going to end up going to an animal or in the trash, because nobody ever eats a full drumstick. So, I don't know. Have fun.
All right.
I
I'm
love
going
full
to
drumsticks.
I'm going to trade to Sinfinite.
Okay, so first of all, I eat full drumsticks. Not gonna lie, but you gotta have turkey. You gotta either smoke it or you gotta do it in a bag. Also, it's called dressing. You filthy heathens. Homemade cranberries. Because the thing is, if you stuff it, it doesn't turn out as good. It's called dressing. Never stuff your turkey. It's disgusting. And then I will be making deviled eggs and the dressing. And then the CDC also, like 2 or 3 years ago, basically came out and said that pie is better for you than salad. So extra pie. And then
Dude,
on Friday, I'm
about to hit y'all with the most like Louisiana take. Just wait. Oh, I'm gonna blow this bitch up. I'm watching CTV's chat to see if they react.
Crazy. I go out. We have a furniture mart here that I go to that always has like crazy good deals and stuff. So I'm looking at getting an exercise bike this year, and maybe an Xbox if I can grab one. And then I'm gonna go powerlifting. So be good times.
Nice. Also, you get me triggered with that take of no stuffing. I'll come back to that later. Montreal player.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm Canadian, so I'm just gonna have what regular weekend dinner
Disqualified.
I have. Right? No, hold on. But that being said, I'll probably eat better than all of you because we have weekly dinners with friends and family, and it's always delicious. We're very good at this stuff, and we know where to get the food because we produce it. So that's it. It's kind of a point of pride, I guess, in our small community over here. But that's it. It's going to be fantastic.
Man, I'll miss Thanksgiving. We're going to miss you, Pat.
It's always better than your Thanksgiving every weekend. Friends and family surrounding us. It's just I live a charmed life. Yeah, that's it. But that's it. Enjoy your stuff, I guess. I love turkey legs, by the way. Eat them like this, right? Right off the bone. Okay. In fact, you know what? You remember these like old like Robin Hood cartoon, like Rocket Robin Hood? I don't know if this ever came on TV, and then maybe I'm just too old, right? But it'd be like Friar Tuck, and he'd like take a bite and like throw it behind his thing. That's what I think about when I eat turkey legs. Although I eat the
cornbread dressing. Fred, quick, name off some like Louisiana
boil down that bone
like foods,
okay, and make broth
like
for it later.
Family dinner,
okay?
quick.
And even after that, it gets ground up and used into something.
I need you.
We put it in the garden. Okay, we make glue out of it. I swear to God, not one friggin' inch of this thing, okay, is going to waste. Never. All right. That's it. What did we eat last week? Homemade Caesar salad. Everything was me. Everything was homemade. Everything, even the fucking Parmesan cheese. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Gonna eat better than you. Right? Canadian.
Potato
right,
salad, cornbread dressing. Good. Coleslaw,
Right,
nice.
Listen, CTV. I saw you a little bit jump out of your chair when I referred to Tiberius first, so I'm not going to make you wait any longer. Go ahead.
Yams, nice.
The fact of the matter is, Monty, is that while you think you live a charmed life, it's CTV, in fact, who really lives the charmed life.
Oh, right. How could I mistake
Spiral cut honey ham? Fuck out of here. Anyone can do that. We're talking like
for Thanksgiving this year.
Muffalata, etouffee, po' boys, red beans and rice. All right, now we're talking.
And remember, I'm in Florida, south of Orlando. We're going to New York. But you know what? While going to New York and meeting the silly serious,
I have to pee so bad.
It's kind of a big deal. It's
I'm
kind
gonna
of a
let the
big
pain
deal.
motivate me.
One of the things, though, that I'm actually really, really happy about is that the 2 nights that we're going to be away from the house, we're going to be staying with Mr. Dylan Burns himself.
Hey,
So make sure you're following me on the
Hey.
Twitter, original_CTV. We're going to be documenting this trip going along the way. Make sure you get into the Infinity Acrewood Discord. But we're going to be meeting Mr. Dylan Burns. The Wolf of Corn and I are going. And then we're going to go up to New York and we're going to meet the Silly
beignets or whatever
Serious
those powdery
in the
sugar
Big
bread things
Apple.
are called. You shut your mouth. All right, that's enough from you.
2,200 miles we're going to have to travel. In a
Are you going to drive through Connecticut and then your back's going to get all out
Crawfish
of whack? with that
etouffee, very
shitty
nice,
road
very nice.
That needs
Yeah.
to get paid for by this infrastructure bill.
I
Collard
realize you're
greens,
Canadian,
ooh.
but like take a look at a map sometime. You'll see Connecticut is north of New York.
You're taking the scenic route. I know you.
Yeah, no. So we're going to be making this trip in a 2019 Ford Mustang
Hell yeah, brother.
convertible EcoBoost Premium.
Goddamn, Ford
don't
Mustang,
know.
baby.
I just don't know what you mean by a charmed life, but I have to say, with a hot wife, a hot car, and hot friends, what more could you want?
Green bean casserole. Oh, you
And
just
that sounds
nailed it,
pretty
dude.
cool.
All right,
Can't
that's
wait
good.
to
That's
see
good.
that.
That's good.
But
Enough.
yeah.
I'm gonna crumb.
All right. I'm going to pray to who didn't go. Sorry. I was blown away by this take. So yeah. Earthly, and after that, Gremloe.
I honestly like my family's Thanksgiving is like nothing remarkable. It's like all of like the most generic food you can get. Something I used to do a lot when I was a kid though
That's
was
tasty.
before any of the food would even come out, I would eat like 90% of
hostility?
like the basket of biscuits with like
Oh, that's
no
hostility,
butter.
not hos
And I'm
tasty.
thinking about doing that again this year just for the nostalgia and then just taking a nap while everybody else is eating.
Oh, naps on holidays. I'm always doing work, but man, I miss those. I miss those.
Yes.
All right. Gremloe.
Look, I don't claim my Southern heritage very often. I'm gonna do that now. Everything that was just said is bullshit. Turkey sucks. It's dry, whether you fry it or you bake it. It's bullshit.
Wrong.
Cranberry sauce, bullshit. It's sour, but at the same time, it's sweet. It sucks. Stuffing, dressing, whatever you want to call it, get out of here. Weak. In Louisiana, I'm talking gumbo. I'm talking warm chicken and sausage gumbo over rice with potato salad, green bean casserole, yams. Get this turkey, ham stuff out of my face. Get out of here. Your Thanksgiving is nothing.
Oh my
That's what I have to say.
He's throwing the gauntlet down.
That's right.
Thanksgiving's
All right,
nothing.
Real quick, before you can all address this god awful take, did I forget anyone? Hardwood answer, go.
Right. I'm very generic. In regards to, we go with turkey. Turkey, mashed potatoes, corn.
Somebody in
stuffing,
CTV's chat was like, that
all
dude is a commie and carrying,
normal,
I bet.
I guess, quote unquote, normal American Thanksgiving stuff. Never heard
Commie
of gumbo.
Cajun, fuck
for
yeah.
Thanksgiving. That's an interesting one. Tiberius with the ham. All right, bold move. Ham's usually like an Easter kind of meal, but if you want to do it for Thanksgiving, go for it. Montreal player, you're Canadian. Sorry, you can't participate. I'm gonna bring this up. Like during the last topic, you had like one really long rant, and like every time you said okay, it was literally the most like your Canadian just like flowed out of you, and it was like you were saying okay.
Well, I'm
after,
flaming
like,
his
every
chat
word.
right now.
It was really funny. I'm sorry.
Oh, really? Man, I feel like I'm sounding like Joe Pesci around here.
You have a Graham Commie carrying card?
It's
Hell yeah,
a
dude,
weapon.
brother.
It was I was just dying laughing. But as far as like something weird for
Y'all better clip
Thanksgiving,
that, by the
Laughing at
way.
me, I'm a clown. I use
something weird for me like for Thanksgiving is in my area, like I'm from the Philly area, a lot of us tend to put like the corn on the mashed potatoes. and you kind of mix it up. So this way you kind of get like a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of like, juiciness from the corn, mixed in with the mashed potatoes. It's actually really good. So I get like this giant wad of like mashed potatoes, and like I make like a little bowl in the middle of it, then take a scoop of corn, stick it in, mix it all up. Oh, dude, it's so
Oh,
good.
dude, I'm pissing off
But yeah, no,
CTV's
that's pretty
chat
much
right now.
my Thanksgiving.
All right. I just want to say one thing before offering it to you, is that I didn't really sleep a lot last night, so I was kind of like falling asleep and everything. And you managed to trigger me so much that now I'm fully active. So if you make another god awful take, I will jump on you. Just say.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I mean,
the floor is yours.
yeah, it's
I
interesting.
want to start
how-
this off by saying with the gumbo, if you're doing chicken sausage, you're fucking wrong. Pork andouille or die. Oh, why
I don't want to hear
you use
anything.
turkey at Christmas is because you can do something like this. I'm putting it in the Discord chat. Yes, this is
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
insult is gumbo.
ramen made from turkey. I actually took the carcass, boiled it down to a stock, added the dressing, added the green beans, and even after everything was in there, I didn't get a picture with it on there. I topped it with cranberry sauce. This is why you have the beauty of turkey at Thanksgiving.
I think that's what I'm going to start eating.
Insult is gumbo. More people do it.
I don't even know what to say. Like,
I'm
I
about
was
to
gonna
arrow
make-
404.
I was gonna say it didn't surprise me that someone said gumbo in a state that's ranked 50th in the country in education with a
That's right.
31% college educated rate, and it's like it looks like there's some other problems, but it seems to be the problem might just be the cooking. So I think that the way that you improve the education in specifically Louisiana is to up their cooking game. It seems to be the only way to it's also much cheaper because you can just like give them better food options. You just give them cookbooks. It's just I don't know.
Man,
The
it sounds
American
like someone's
people
sitting there with
are tired
tailored
of
ham
women.
and just so jealous. Out in New
I'm-
Jersey.
I'm going to an Italian house, man. They're gonna make some like weird ass shit that doesn't even belong in Thanksgiving. I don't know what they're gonna. I have no idea what they're gonna make, but I know it's not gonna be turkey.
Look, buddy,
So
my
I'm with
best
you
friend's
there.
from New Jersey. I feel you. I got much love for my New Jersey brothers, but y'all guys got some weak food. I'm going to be honest. And if
That's all right.
having gumbo means I have to have number 50 in education, I'm going to take that L. Okay?
Ugh, damn, it's quite the take.
Yeah,
well,
well,
I
yeah,
don't
you're
know,
doing
engage.
gumbo.
This gumbo's so delicious, and
Look.
I will fuck our kids for generations.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, look. Jesus Christ, I don't know why I'm bothering, but you know what? Fact of the matter is, I spent quite a bit of time in New Jersey and New York. Okay, that is some of the best. If you go there, you'll find some of the best Italian food in the fucking country. Okay, just straight up. I got to shout that out because there is some great fucking Italian food up in the Northeast Corridor. Okay,
It's
but
the best Italian food in the whole country is in the Northeast Corridor.
yeah,
Real shit.
real.
However,
So
shouting out to Louisiana down there. Your Cajun food is fantastic. I wouldn't have it on Thanksgiving, but your gumbo, it's on point. I respect it. I really do. Soul food throughout the South. Love it. Delicious.
yeah, but when it comes to Thanksgiving dinner, right? I mean, let's be honest. You need what? You got to have your turkey, right?
No.
Yeah.
Ham.
Shut up. I'm talking, right? So you got to have your turkey, right?
No,
but
you
you know
can't
what? It's
stand,
not.
dude.
God, Jesus Christ! It's not
Tiberius.
all about the fucking turkey. It's
Tiberius,
not all
you're
about the
the only
turkey,
one
right?
who's
So since it's not all about the turkey, what else we got? We got sides. We got fixings.
Turkey is so shit, man.
Sides and fixings, boys. So sides and fixings. Here we go. Now,
This is a worse take than Trump shrinking government.
Which
you
one?
gotta have your tater salad, right? Gotta have that tater salad. You're gonna have to have, right?
You are a fucking Carolina boy, aren't
You
you?
got to have that stovetop stuffing, boy. That stovetop stuffing. I'm telling you, you mix that in with a little bit of gravy. Oh my god. Oh my god. Look, and let's not forget about the deviled eggs.
Yeah, the Southern caviar. That's right. That's right.
Oh my
Ah,
Listen,
God.
deviled eggs
Gotta
are
have you some
amazing.
deviled eggs, boy.
I literally bought the deviled egg carrier trays just so that way I could take deviled eggs with me to Thanksgiving this year because it's the fucking best.
I love it. Southern caviar. That's fantastic. I love it.
That's
I'm
right.
Gonna use that. I'm gonna fucking use that.
That's right.
It's fantastic.
Like, I'm turning into CTV over here, man. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the Southern pride now.
See, this is another topic I feel very unqualified
lefties and
on
righties
because my parents
uniting.
eat like 2 meals on Thanksgiving Day, and one of them is literally lunch meat sandwiches. Like that's what it's like when your family lives in fucking Ohio. Like there's just
You
something
gotta
wrong
start
with
new
that
traditions,
state.
man.
Thanksgiving.
Find yourself a woman or a boy or whatever you're into, okay, and that knows how to cook. All right, that knows how to cook
Thanksgiving
and
morning.
get those traditions in.
Thanksgiving morning, you gotta
Probably
wake
gonna
up.
have to.
With...
I'm gonna have to expatriate from my family.
No, the trick is to bring someone into your family that can teach. So Thanksgiving morning, you wake
Good
up,
idea.
big ass pot of coffee. Actually, 2 pots of coffee. Let's not fuck around here. And then cinnamon rolls. Not just like 1 can of cinnamon rolls, 2 fucking cans of cinnamon rolls. Because we are not here to fucking mess around. We're here to go hard.
Cans.
Not enough.
Cans.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
no, 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 no. If
You
you're
gotta
doing
get to dinner.
now, if you're doing
Sock them
anything
food.
sweet, if you're doing anything sweet with it, it's got to be strawberry rhubarb.
Ooh.
No, for breakfast.
Oh,
See, Gremloe's like that was the bomb.
yeah. You ever take a cinnamon roll and you put it in a waffle iron? It'll blow
I
your
usually
mind.
just take them and
That's
throw them in the trash. But you know,
I gotta say, when it comes to cinnamon rolls, I feel like the quality of them has dropped off since I was a kid.
Yeah, what's
It's
up with
either
that?
Yeah, it's either that or like I became an adult.
it's
Like
usually what happens.
one of the two happened.
Taste buds changed over time, I think.
I'm actually gonna second him. Now, granted, I've grown up too, but on the other side of that is that man, those things do not taste like what they used to. They fucking do not.
And I don't give a fuck what you say.
Was that
Cinnabon,
cinnamon rolls?
Cinnabon does not know how to make a cinnamon roll or a Cinnabon. They suck at it. I don't know why they bother having their fucking their company named that because they suck at it.
Cinnabon's
One of
still
those
exists.
things where it's really easy to make it either way too dry or way too soggy.
True.
Here's something that
it's
might
a
divide you
delicate
guys. Potato salad. Do you put pickles in it or not?
You don't
What?
fucking make potato salad to begin with.
Get
Why would you make things that
out
no one's
of
gonna
here.
eat except for you?
Exactly. That's just for the peasants, dude.
Wait,
Fucking
Joe,
no.
because
Oh, I'm
because if no one's gonna eat
sorry
it but
that
you,
we
you
in
get more of it.
Louisiana have to have potato salad because we're the poorest state in the country. Literally number 50. I'm sorry.
Get your shit together, boys. Let's go.
Listen,
I don't
seriously,
know.
I'm
Yeah,
saying-
Seriously, it sounds like his state takes enough shits on it already, and you got to keep shitting on it. What's wrong with you?
That is true.
It's all
It's all
potato
right.
People while they're
salad.
down, what the
They
fuck?
can't, we're not trying to take their rights away. They can keep their beads. They can keep their Mardi Gras. They can keep their saints. Just just build a wall around it. Like,
Look, I'm willing to trade.
Hey,
I'm willing to
that's
trade.
a great fucking point. I'm happy to hear someone on the left advocating for a fucking wall.
No, but I'm just saying, like all Trump had to do is just make a nice little border around Louisiana, right on the coast. We'll be good to go. But
Look,
they
Yeah,
I,
didn't do
but
I'm willing to
look,
support
Trump is
that. We can
crap,
just
so-
take all the
Some-
conservatives in the country. We can ship them to Louisiana, or I'll even like trade for Florida,
No,
and we can
but-
just leave them in there and let them have their own little Ancapistan.
New Orleans is too
No.
fun. No, I
No,
want to keep New Orleans.
No, you
Now,
don't.
see, I was
No,
with
no,
you.
it's a package deal, bro.
I was with you on the tater
Let me see.
salad, and then it just went sideways there. Like, what the hell are you trying to? You can't try to co-op Florida, right? Because we don't
Look,
want
look.
the 50 fucking coming over here, right? Now you're having me advocate for a fucking border wall. You stay your ass there and improve shit where you're at. Don't try to come over here. We got shit right over here.
Look,
all
look,
right?
look. I have a whole dossier on this. We can talk about it if you want. It's called the Florida Annexation Plan. We just take all the chuds, we put them in Florida. Anyone who doesn't want to be there, we take them out. And you guys are like free-range chickens. You can just do whatever you want in Florida. We wall that bitch off. And the only way to get out is through a gauntlet of vaccine turrets. That's my plan. Whether or not you're on board for it, that's up to you. We can hammer out the details later.
You know what you
You
sound
use
like?
like
You sound
vaccine robots to hunt
Hold on.
them down if they won't.
No.
move to that state? Like,
They're
what
on
is
the
this?
wall.
I want
They are
all-out
on
power
the wall.
and, like, syringer miniguns.
Wait. One at a time. CTV, go after that shit.
Yeah, he was addressing me, right? So, like, look, here's the reality. You sound just like, you used a big fancy word there at the beginning. Was it dossier, right? That just sounds like
That's right.
French communist. This is like French communist word, right?
Mhm,
Clearly, your ancestors go back to the ones that were there before the Louisiana Purchase. Clearly, right? So, your takes
All
are
right.
horrible.
How about this? How about
They're-
this?
They're so horrible, right? And the reason that we need to get away from that type of thinking
Okay.
is because we're passing it to Joe.
No, I'm saying like, how about this? Why don't we put Louisiana on the trading block, giving France priority.
I actually had a
Like-
conversation with Mr. Geek and propositioned a Louisiana refund recently.
That way, that way, like France gets to repurchase Louisiana for the low price of whatever number they want. It could be 0. It's fine.
It's the
We
same
could
price
give
of a
them
bag
money.
of Cracklins.
We'll take it.
Like I don't know. Like maybe we can go to Canada. We could say like we'll I don't know. We'll take Trudeau from Canada, so that way they can just take all that shit up north, Montana,
We should
North
get
Dakota.
Louisiana. We should get Louisiana. Those people are Acadians. They're descendants of
Mm.
Acadians. Sorry, we had them
No.
first. They deported them there. They deported them there to settle that place. But those are our people there.
Yeah, I guess so. I
Can
mean,
we
like,
compromise here?
sure.
Can we make Quebec and Louisiana its own country, and then that way neither Canada or U.S. has to deal with either one of them?
We've
How
been
about
fucking
this?
trying, dude.
Oh, like a Bloc Québécois situation. Interesting.
Yeah.
And, I'll trade this if Canada gives
I mean,
up.
because then we can keep the Canadians out of the NHL, and everything will be happy.
How about this? How about this? We give France Louisiana, and if people in Louisiana want to stay, that's fine. If not, we just send them to Portland. How about that?
Well, you didn't tell
Fair.
me when we were getting out of the fucking deal. I ain't giving shit away. It's already mine. You don't get to give the shit away. So tell me what we're getting in exchange, Joe. Come on.
Okay. Listen. I mean, this is kind of a nuclear take, but if we're gonna give up Louisiana, we might as well just take Japan. Like, we might as well just take it wholesale. Like, we're already like look, Hawaii is just the one. That was just the starting point. Why do you think World War II happened? Why do you think we got involved? Because
Oh my
Japan was
God.
like on to us. It's like something's going on there.
I
So-
can't do it. I can't make that deal.
No?
So,
It ain't good enough.
Listen,
It
the
ain't good
Florida
enough.
annexation
That's
plan
a
is
good
still on
deal,
the table.
CTV.
Now we're already there. What the fuck am I getting out of it other than like
Exactly.
full responsibility?
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
want
no, no.
full
You don't
responsibility
understand.
When I'm going to be giving a foreign nation, right, a foothold on the continent that I occupy. That's not a good idea.
Like we all.
Yeah, but
we-
it's
we-
France.
and again, like I'm
it
not
doesn't
saying.
matter who it is. And look, the French people, right, have Napoleon in their history, right? That son of a bitch came through and ransacked fucking everybody, and y'all are just like, oh yeah, it's the French because they have brown pants on their officers because they're scared shitless, right? It's not all a fucking meme. Napoleon came in and showed you that the French got some fucking balls every once in a while, right? So
I
I,
was
don't
gonna
want to be
say-
around. I don't want them assholes having a foothold here where I'm at, and maybe there's that one motherfucker that's got the Napoleon balls, right?
Okay,
CTV,
how about
maybe
this?
it's more like
How about the
addition-
trade-off is
You know?
a daily shipment of crepes to the rest of the country?
No. Pancakes,
Daily
man.
shit.
Oh, those
Crepes aren't
thin
that
little
good.
bitches. No, look. I think CTV, like, unknowingly is making a great argument the Florida annexation plan. I'm telling you, we just wall it off.
all right.
You can't hold back Florida men. Have you not been paying attention to the news?
I don't know.
You
You
can't
guys are
hold us
pretty
back.
scared of vaccines. As long as we got the walls lined with
Okay,
turret
well, give
machine
up-
guns, you know,
No,
basically
the
just
fact
what
of
he
the
wants
matter
shooting
is
is-
to ship
vaccines
all
at
the
you guys.
Republicans
The-
there.
the
He
fact
wants
of
to
the
ship all the
matter
Those
conservatives
guys are
there.
Hold on, hold on.
developing like
Let the ocean take
fact of
it.
the matter is that there's nobody down here is scared of a vaccine. The fact of the matter is that those on the other side of the wall are scared of a virus that they're going to end up catching anyway. And all you really want to do,
We're not
right,
going down this
is
hole.
go full X-Man with fucking needles and fucking point them at us. So you're the guys with the problem, not us.
I mean,
we're
it
not
sounds like you
saying-
guys are going to make it through the machine gun vaccine turrets pretty easy then.
yeah.
Well, I don't think
Yeah,
he's
because
trying to
we
say.
got fucking machine guns with real bullets.
CTV, wait. Joe, go
Never
ahead.
underestimate
I don't
Floridian
think-
ingenuity.
I don't think when we just solve Florida off the continent of the United States, or just not the continent, Jesus Christ, off the country. Like, we're not saying that you can't leave Florida. It's just that if you want to leave Florida, you're gonna get hit with a couple shots and maybe a couple boosters on the way out.
Exactly.
Like,
What
it's,
if-
it's
what if
not.
we just-
I think that's fair, right?
Mhm.
It's the same thing in Jersey, right? Like, it's free to leave, but like, it's sorry, let me rephrase that. It's
You're just
free to
going to
come
leave
in.
with HPV.
Yeah, like, it's free to come in. Like, you take 95 to New Jersey, free. You go through like from Staten Island to Jersey, free, unless you get fucked by Gothels. But if you want to leave the state, you got to pay up. Like, that's just the cost of living here. So for Florida, right? Since they are this new country, We'll let you keep the currency. We'll give you American dollars. I think it's totally fair. If Louisiana wants to join Florida, I think that'd be a much better deal. That way they can have like a little mini like North and South thing going. But
I got a feeling like if you're hell bent on this plan for Florida, right? Texas is probably going to have a problem with that. Just saying.
I think Texas has to stop fighting the border battle and just give the state to Mexico. I think that's the only logical solution.
That's right.
You already like I've seen those border towns. It's basically Mexico.
Listen,
Nah,
North
Johnny,
Mexico is
what
coming
we're
back in
gonna
a big
do
way.
What we are going to do is we're going to reintroduce Manifest Destiny. North America is going to be ours, boys. Let's make it all. We won't have to worry about borders ever again. Canada, guess what? You're American. Mexico, you're American too. Fuck this. We don't even have to worry about borders. We'll have one. It'll be the Darien Gap in Panama, and we'll call it a fucking day. 24 miles.
It's like
of
there are people across
America.
the country. Like, listen, there are people across the country that already have like very like ethnically diverse foods in there, and they're like, I feel like Texas just submitting to Mexico would make their food
The
better.
American
That
people
way,
are
it's
No,
easier to
Mexico
transport goods.
to us will make our food better, and that's the
I don't.
objective here.
But
Come
the,
on,
but the
dude.
problem is like
Team
I don't think.
Just ask Miles.
Let's
Thanks
go.
for the follow.
Listen, like if we're gonna keep the 1350 myth, then we cannot have that happen. We have to give Texas to Mexico. Can't be.
No, we're not keeping that myth. It's time for that bitch to die. Let's change this up.
So I mean, I understand like maybe we can give 1350 to another minority. I feel like if we take Mexico, it's gonna be Latinx folks. I don't think we're ready for that fight. I don't think we're ready for that level of fight.
If we take Mexico, it's going to be white people.
Oh. Actually, let me say this because I remember a panel from Politically Provoked being afraid of this whole idea of white erasure. So maybe we don't give Mexico Texas. Maybe we start with like.
Was that
Okay, wait. Hear me out though.
Arizona?
Hear me out though. What if we take Canada and then we immediately make weed illegal there?
Ooh.
No, I want to legalize weed
It's
everywhere.
heavily stigmatized.
Mm.
How about this?
Why don't we take you over, okay, and then you can actually be happy with your own country, fuck.
I don't want to break my back and be stuck in a healthcare line for 20 years.
My question though is, if we're going to give up Texas, what about barbecue? Like, how is Austin barbecue going to like be imported to the U.S.? What are we going to do?
Barbecue. We just do what we've always done. We infiltrate them within their own country and then make micro wars and take their barbecue.
This is true.
Like we
This
did
is true.
it. We did it in Mexico. We did it in Brazil for plantanas. We can fucking do it here for barbecue.
Yeah, we did it like banana wars. We could just do barbecue wars.
Yeah. Like, listen, we can World War II way to PS5s. Okay, we can.
Nice.
We can do it.
And with that being said,
Can I
think-
add a quick question here with this?
One more
If
Canada
we're going
insult. Let's
to
go.
separate out Florida, can we at least put a smattering of 24/7 news crews down there so we can get live Florida Man footage streamed directly into our phones whenever we want it?
Well, it's interesting
be
you
honest
asked that
with you.
because part of the Florida annexation plan does
Are you in
require a
Florida?
closed
Are you in
caption TV
Florida?
program.
No, you're not in Florida. Shut the fuck up.
I'm in
for a minute.
proximity, bitch.
You're
My
not
state is literally
proximity,
shaped like an
bitch, my
L.
ass.
Okay, I can shit on Florida all I want.
You can't even evacuate.
Wait. I'm going to mute you both. Stop. Okay, you're going to both be able to answer to this question in your closing statement because we're running out of time for this topic. Don't worry, CTV. I give you.
One sec. See, now you interrupted, and I don't remember what the fucking question was.
Well,
That
it
was
sounds
a
like the
good
Florida
meme moment.
education
It was a-
system is failing.
It was a good meme
I know,
moment.
but we have to.
Except I didn't go to school in Florida, you fucking asshole. I'm down here now defending it. Now, if you really wanted some entertainment, you wouldn't have the camera crews in Florida. You'd have them in Georgia and Mississippi and Alabama and all the states surrounding because here comes this fucking wave across the country. All right? And then we're going to go over there and fix this fucking gumbo problem that fucking Gremloe's got. Right? We're going to teach them how to make some real fucking food. And then we're going to go from there. Right? So, Geek?
All right. And with that being said, we're going to go into closing statements. But before that, thank you all for being here. Again, really appreciate it. I had a blast hosting this. I thought the conversation was pretty chill, so yeah, thank you all for that. And yeah, let's start with the closing statement by, do a closing statement and also give yourself a shout out, tell people where they can find you and everything. Let's start with Joe.
Yeah, my Twitch handle is still J0eLewis, O being 0. This is a lot of fun. It's good just chilling out, kicking the shit. We had a little bit of contention on the infrastructure bill, but
You guys like
it seems
that?
like we're at mutual
You like the little
agreement that the
little
government kinda
gentle
sucks.
ribbing?
Yeah, that's all I got. Like, hope people who observe during this week have a good holiday, and I hope that you find some solace in being with your friends and family. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, then I hope you enjoy doing whatever you do during that week. Yeah, just I don't know. It's kind of the same take that I've had for the past couple of weeks. Call your fucking parents, tell them that you love them, even if your parents, even if even if you're exiled from your family, they still think about and care about you. It's just that you're going over a tough patch. But yeah, call your fucking parents, especially if you're at Thanksgiving. And yeah, that's all I got. Glad to be here.
Happy to have you on board. I'm going to throw it to Montreal player.
Twitch.tv/Montreal Player. Hello. I used to not stream. Now I do. So when do I stream? Around 9:30 on weekdays, basically on school nights, Sunday to Thursday. Sunday, I'm usually here. Monday, hopefully, if he doesn't cancel, I'll be talking to Tiberius about stuff. Tuesday, okay, we're doing the High Times podcast with CTV. Who's our guest this week, CTV?
Well, on Tuesday, we're going to be having Sanso on the High Times.
There you go. If you want to, yeah, there you go. And then Wednesday, my person canceled, but I'll find someone. Okay, if you want to find, and Thursday, of course, is community night where you get to rip on me, right? But but other than that, if you want essentially chill conversations, that's half intellectual, half probably edgy jokes, right? Come see me, twitch.tv/Montreal Player. And yeah, that's it. I have nothing else to say.
All right, thank you for being here. I'm going to throw it to Earthly.
Hi, yeah, my name's Earthly with a U, because fuck yeah. I stream a couple times a month, but it's usually pretty high effort content, worth checking out. Usually either drama coverage or something of the sort. And I'm also starting to try to get more into this scene, so I'll probably be doing a lot more of that in the next couple months. So that'll be a whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about myself. Thank you for having me. It's been fun. It's nice to meet all of you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. All right, Gremloe.
All right. Well, yeah. My name is Gremloe. I stream on Twitch Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We cover news and politics and do a little variety stuff. We like to have fun. I'm just glad I was able to come on here. It was a lot of fun. The Florida annexation plan is coming, so just everybody prepare for that. We'll hammer out the details later. But yeah, thank you for having me on, guys. It was a good time.
All right, Sin Phoenix.
Hey everyone, I am Sin Phoenix, SYNFENIX. I just really want to quick say, Gremloe, it sounds like you and I really need to have a conversation about gumbo if you're using chicken sausage. This is unacceptable.
Chicken and sausage.
Oh, okay. I thought you said just chicken sausage,
No,
and I'm
no,
like,
no.
that's not okay.
No, pork sausage.
Okay, and Dewey, right?
No.
Go to war. Go to war.
This is a.
You can
war
fight me
crime.
on this if you want, but I mean, you are going to be wrong.
I will. No, I will not be wrong. Any rate, yeah. So I'm basically a variety streamer. I try and stream between 3, 4, or 5 times a week. I don't fucking know. It's usually weeknights and weekend days. Also depends on my hockey schedule. So, so if I have a game on Saturday night, I'll typically be streaming Sunday or earlier Saturday. So it just kind of all depends. But video games, politics, tech review, movie review. Yeah. So come on, check me out. Be a good time. Oh, and I also do open call-ins all the time. So if you ever want to come in and chat, just pop on in. There's a command in chat for it, and we can talk and chat and have a good time.
Yeah.
All right.
And Dewey is for po' boys and red beans and rice.
Yeah, all right. So my name is Tiberius D. If you liked anything that I had to say today, well, I've got 2 things for you. Number 1, I've got Twitch. I'm streaming right now, and we're getting ready to stream the Mask Off podcast here in about 20 minutes. So if you like myself, you like Counterpoints, you like Osiris, and a few other people, definitely come feel free to check that out. And then everything that I do, you can find on the YouTube, whether it's my open panels, whether it is the panels that I do participate on, or my more scripted, more analytical stuff. Last week in particular, and some parts of next week, I talked about the infrastructure bill and my actual thoughts on that, given the full breakdown of what it is and each major interstate project that the nation's doing. That's I-9 in California, I-11 between Las Vegas and Phoenix. And then you've got so many more that are still on the pipeline. I-14, I-49, I-57, I-69, I-74. There's a lot of things being done. And now with the infrastructure bill, that's going to be funded. So if you're interested in all those wonderful things, and maybe one of them is nearby you, check out the channel. There's plenty for you there.
All right. Hardwood and Sock.
All right, cool. I'm Hardwood and Sock. I'm just kind of returning back from my few month hiatus from Twitch politics. So I might try getting on a few more panels. I don't necessarily have a schedule or anything at the moment because my schedule's all over the place for work. But you'll see me in a bunch of other people's chats, quite often. So yeah, no, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Danabo. Thank you, Mr. Geek, for having me. Again, I appreciate it. And, hopefully I can be on more in the future. And it was a pleasure talking to everybody here.
Yeah, always happy to have you on board. CTV.
All right, so I want to thank you to everybody for showing up tonight, having nice camera quality and mic quality. Gotta be honest, it doesn't take much to solve these problems. You guys took the bare minimum of steps to be able to show up here tonight and talk to CTV, right? Let's be honest. That's why I know you came. So we're going to be taking a look at the VOD. We're going to be reviewing it. We're going to be going through the stringiest of steps to make sure that we get the highest quality for the Hippy Dippy main show. That's why we're here. We're here to meme, cream, and have fun, but it's ultimately to get ready for the big show, right? So thank you for showing up tonight. Thank you for being a part of this magnificent machine. And you can find me, and I think everybody should, right? Go to original_CTV. Follow me on Twitter, right? We've been doing a lot of good things on there here lately. And come by the Infinity Acre Wood and the Wolf's Den and have a conversation anytime you like, for the most part. The only thing is there's a couple of rules in the Discord, but they're all meant to facilitate community, right, and not necessarily bullshit, right? So we definitely hold to a real high moniker of respect in the community over here, because we in fact have the best chat on Twitch. So that said, thanks for everybody for showing
Another
up.
terrible take. I have the best chat on Twitch.
Yeah. And you know what?
No.
If you smell what CTV is smoking.
I wish I
CTV
didn't
out.
unmute for that CTV.
But you did.
Right.
Damn it, you're in my out. I just said CTV out. Now I'm sitting here talking to Danimo.
You've got to stay. You've got to stay. I've got something. Was that everybody?
Fuck.
Was everybody gone?
Ah, jeez, here we go.
Yeah, I think so. Did I forget anyone?
Did he forget anyone?
Perfect.
No? Okay.
Wow, congratulations.
How'd it
Geek.
go? It went
Yeah,
incredible.
That's his only job, and he always screws it up. I've got a treat for everyone. Okay.
Oh,
I've just tweeted it out now. I'm gonna throw it in Geeks chat.
okay.
All right. If you want to see the first ever appearance of Critically Thinking Veteran, it is now on YouTube. I have uploaded the first episode of the Hippy Dippy recruitment on YouTube for you to all enjoy. So go and have a look at that. It's got Riley on there. It's got Heem. It's got CTV. A few other faces that you might have forgot. Tiberius is actually on there. He was on our first ever recruitment, and he's on this one. So yeah.
Oh my God, Suspect Sushi was on that.
She was on that.
God.
Oh no.
This is like an all-star.
You guys
cast
don't want
now.
to scrub
Yeah,
that
don't
one.
worry, guys.
I'm
This
very
is a
thankful to
YouTube
all our
video.
guests
Don't
over
worry. We're doing it.
however
I'm
long
downloading
it's
the
been.
VOD
Thank you very
immediately
much.
when I
Have a
end
good
stream
night, everyone.
tonight.
Thank you so much.
And FYI, there's nothing wrong with Suspect Sushi.
Again, Discord is open, whereby is open. If you want to go stay here and talk about everything, like if you want to go back on the infrastructure or your awful take on Turkey, yeah, this is the place. I'm going to say goodnight to my chat, and I'm going to raid Tiberius. That way we keep the panel and the energy going. And yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Y'all have a wonderful night.
Fantastic.
All right, thank you guys. Love you.
Geek.
What did we think? Huh? So it's over? Yeah, it's over. That's it. I thought there was a case for the second topic. What was the second topic? I can't remember. I'm like tipsy right now. Oh, the food topic? Oh, they will never be right, and they will never accept that they're wrong. That's all there is to it. Turkey, bullshit. Ham, bullshit. Oh, yeah. If we could have talked about Rittenhouse, we would have gone for another like 4 hours. So it's kind of good that we didn't. But I'll watch it later. Thank you for stopping by again, MDHJ. I really appreciate it. Also, thank you to Mr. Brainhead, Montreal player, who was in the discussion. Pugsy16 and Just Ask Miles for the follow. Appreciate you guys. We're just starting out. We're a smaller stream, so you know, any kind of support, I appreciate it. That was a good time. There's a lot of points of contention, but overall, I think that the general consensus is that this infrastructure bill, as it is in law, is bullshit. Like, it's not enough, or that it doesn't do like well enough for American workers. And I completely agree on that, no matter what side of the spectrum you're coming from. You did well, bud. Thank you, Just Ask Miles. Are you coming from CTV's community? I really enjoyed talking to him. Look, if we want to argue Florida versus Louisiana, we can do that, okay? We can do that anytime he wants. Like, objectively speaking, Louisiana is the worst state, but I will stake my case for the Florida annexation plan, whether he likes it or not, okay?